tonight against Las Vegas. She also missed 5 games earlier this season with strained quads, so the Fever is erring on the side of caution with the former number 1 overall pick, notes ESPN WNBA reporter Alexa Philippou.
They want to make sure that they are not making this something that is going to linger long term. They think that it'll probably help that they have some time before the All-Star break. They have a nice 5-game homestand that's starting tonight against the Aces, and so they really can take their time making sure that she's feeling 100%, there's no lingering issues, and she can get back on the floor hopefully sooner rather than later.
NHL splashy offseason signing by the Hurricanes. They inked forward Nick Ehlers 6 years, $51 million.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Canty from Unsportsmanlike. I just wanted to wish all of our loyal listeners a happy 4th of July, and thank you for joining us each and every morning at 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride! Go!
Off and running after further review here on a Thursday. Welcome in. We're presented by Decision Critical Concierge and Nursing. Musso in for Moscona. One more day for us, as a matter of fact, taking the 4th of July weekend off. And when we return on Monday, everything will be back. Well, actually, not true. I'll be out. So not everything will be back to normal on AFR, but Matt will be back. Jacob Beck here, Paul O'Neill along for the ride as well. And we're glad to have you as this mic just continues to fall down. All right, I think
there's been some issues with that. I don't really know what's going on with it, but I'm not going to lie. It seems to have started since Hester moved over to that mic.
Maybe it's Hester's fault.
I think it might be.
We're going to blame Hester. Paul, we have another mic in this building somewhere? I mean, goodness
We definitely
gracious.
do.
This thing. Yeah, but does that one do the same thing this one does?
We'll see.
I'm just not going to touch it for the rest of the show, and I think we're going to have a good time. All right. Welcome in. Glad to have you along for the ride. We have a ton to get to. Ross Jackson will join us 4:15. Ross has just been on a heater over at LouisianaSports.net, pumping out great Saints content. And he had about 3 pieces that I saw throughout the course of the week that all caught my interest, and I want Ross's take on all of it. So he's going to be here to talk about that with us at 4:15. Of course, LSU on the recruiting trail, they go 1 out of 2. We're going to talk about Trenton Henderson here momentarily. We have updated Heisman odds as well and what it means for week 1. Who can really separate themselves from the pack week 1? Yes, Garrett Nussmeier is included in that. We will get to all of it here today, but let us begin as we do every single day right now.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
All right, so when we left the show on Wednesday, we were right up against the commitment for both Trenton Henderson and J.J. Bush. Both had LSU in the final. Both were considered LSU leans. You go 1 for 2, as often happens in recruiting. We'll focus in here mainly on Trenton Henderson because that's the one that you got. Later on, maybe a thought or two on J.J. Bush, but, you know, he's going to go play for Arkansas, so I really don't have many thoughts on that. I mean, good luck in Fayetteville, kid. Trenton Henderson, though, is a absolutely massive get for LSU because, one, that's a 5-star, and you're never going to shake a stick at a 5-star, obviously, when they choose your school. It is an out-of-state guy from a talent-rich state in Florida, and you got him away from 2 SEC opponents in the Gators, who's a rival, and the University of Texas as well. LSU really charged down the stretch in this recruitment, as Shea Dixon told us on Tuesday, and they're able to secure the commitment from Trenton Henderson. So 5-star, it's LSU's sixth top 100 commitment so far out of 12 in the 2026 class. He is, depending on which service you look at, either the second or third highest ranked commitment in LSU's class. 6'4", 225 pounds, extremely athletic. One of the things I love about Henderson, he's a 2-sport guy in high school. That is always a major green flag for me, really in any sport. When you're looking at recruiting, but especially, you know, football, baseball too, because you never want them to like specialize really in one thing. You want them to do different things throughout the year. But Henderson, normally when you look at two-sport guys in football, it's football and track and field. For Henderson, it's basketball. So, I mean, right off the bat, that shows you the athleticism that he has, the speed off the edge, really stands out. Bit of a versatile guy, but when you look at the jump he made from his sophomore year in high school to his junior season this past fall, it is hard to miss. As a sophomore, he had 3 sacks. As a junior this past fall, that jumped up to 10. He also added 18 TFLs. And to go along with the 10 sacks, an additional 20 quarterback hurries. When you're looking at projectability and further development just as a senior in high school, you're going to see those numbers obviously jump. And you look at him already, as we said, at 6'4", 225 coming into LSU. Man, that's a great spot to be in because as soon as he gets in, we'll see, obviously, if he's an early enrollee or not. A lot of guys choose that path. Don't know yet for Trenton Henderson, so we'll wait and see. But if he gets in early and gets into LSU's strength and conditioning program in the spring, that's a guy, when you look at all the measurables, where he ranks in the country, the 5-star that you go, okay, that's someone that maybe you could potentially see on the field in some capacity, giving you something as a freshman in 2026. Now, the other part of that is, obviously, you have to get him all the way to National Signing Day in the early signing period. And things can change, and there are the NIL and rev share and all of those things that factor in now. But all you can do right now is say you've got him committed, and you look at what he could bring to LSU, and he could bring an awful lot. And the reason I really like this is it's a position of need for LSU. Like, look back at edge rusher, if you will, with me for a moment with LSU. And it's really been a portal. I don't want to say like mercenary position for LSU, but they've done work in the portal, whether it be Braden Swinson, Ovia Gofu, all those guys they brought in. Savion Jones developed quite well under Kevin Peoples. That's a guy that you had signed, out of St. James in your recruiting class. That's great. But for the most part, it's been a portal position for LSU. You look back a couple years ago, Deshaun Womack, Jackson Howard, both those guys, like top 100 edges coming out, they've both entered the transfer portal and really did so, kind of before last year and this year. A season ago, you only signed one edge rusher, or I should say a cycle ago, you signed one edge rusher in Damian Shanklin. That was it. Swinson, Jones, they move on in the draft. You go back into the portal for this position, and you get Patrick Payton, Jamari Butler, Jack Pyburn, who are going to bolster your defensive line immensely in 2025. The problem there is, though, they're all out of eligibility after 2025. You're going to really need to replace at the edge rusher position. And you have guys like a Kalaj Cobbins, who they're really high on. But he's played in 7 games so far. And his most extensive action came against Baylor in the bowl game. Dylan Carpenter's a redshirt freshman. He just hasn't played a lot. CJ Jackson, redshirt guy. We'll see what you can get out of Shanklin. But there's a real possibility that your most experienced that you return for 2026 is Gabe Relaford, because Relaford will play plenty here this season. That's going to be a big spot for LSU in the 2026 offseason, or I should say the 2025 offseason, heading into the 2026 season. And that's the main reason that landing Trenton Henderson is so huge. His talent notwithstanding. Just you need bodies at that spot if you're LSU going forward. And you could dip back into the transfer portal. You know what? I'm sure they would. Not to put the cart way before the horse. They haven't even played this year. But, I mean, you just see really where you are at that spot. You know what? Look, they could go add another edge rusher in this class, and we'll see if they do that. Shea Dixon mentioned Carlton out of Texas, but it's going to be hard to get him away from the Texas schools. He'll announce next week. But it's that need that you're going to have there is why I love. And again, when you're looking at the two, and you would have loved to have had both Henderson and J.J. Bush, 100%. But when you're looking at the two, one, Henderson's a 5-star, and two, edge is a much bigger position of need than linebacker right now for LSU. It's not to say they're not going to go out and sign a linebacker in this class. I'm sure they will. But we talked about that yesterday when we previewed their commitments, the work that LSU has done in recruiting at linebacker. Keelan Moses, Charles Ross, Jaden Breaker, Zach Weeks, Devon Keys. Like, you feel really good about that spot going forward if you're LSU. So for me, the get of Trenton Henderson is just massive on so many different levels. And it's a great get. And you know what? After you had all those official visits and all the big official visit weekends that you did in June, to start July off with a 5-star, you don't get a better step in the right direction with that, regardless of what happened with a guy like J.J. Bush. And when you look at LSU's defensive line class so far that they've put together here for 2026, depending on which recruiting service you subscribe to, it's 2 5-stars. And the number one interior guy, number one defensive lineman in Richard Anderson out of Carr, and now Trenton Henderson. That is loud for LSU up front on the defensive line in 2026. And you know what? I'm sure they're not done. They'll just keep on trucking. For what it's worth, with the addition of Henderson, LSU's class moved up to number 5 in the country. That has since dropped one spot because recruiting, it's fluid. LSU stands at number 6 right now in the nation, up one spot from number 7 where they were entering Wednesday night. So paying dividends, and they have a long way to go. And there's some big fish left out there, obviously, for LSU, and a lot of them will announce in the coming week. The biggest being Lamar Brown on Thursday, July the 10th. So we'll have plenty to talk about more with recruiting. Shea will be back with us on Tuesday, and he'll preview Lamar Brown. He'll react to Trenton Henderson and all of that. But as far as my opinion goes, you couldn't have landed a bigger fish right there if you were LSU, a 5-star at a major position of need to start what's going to be a huge month for you in July. All right, we're going to grab a break. Our first break of the show. We'll come back on the other side. Continue the football conversation. I want to look at the SEC quarterbacks and not necessarily really Garrett Nussmeier. Everyone around, what are we to make of this year in the league when it comes to quarterbacks? Because there's a lot of interesting dynamics. I'll explain what I mean next here on AFR.
After further review.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. I love sharing 5-star Google reviews. Here's one from Ricky Gomez, who said Chris, his technician, was very professional and knowledgeable during the HVAC evaluation. He provided details and recommendations in a clear and concise manner. That's one of the things that always stands out. If you're having an issue with your AC or your heater, and River City's 1 Hour Air sends out a technician for an evaluation, they're going to explain your options to you. And that may sound simple, but none of it, I don't know anything about an HVAC, neither do you. Let's be honest. So whenever they go get up in your attic or they go look at your HVAC unit on the side of your house and they come talk to you, they're going to explain very clearly what's happening and your options to remedy it. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. 752-0001.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Brought to you by Evermore. Drink Evermore, EVAMOR, Evermore.com, Evermore.com. For elite athletes, for someone who just wants a healthier lifestyle. Maybe you're a parent, you want a healthier option for your children. Evermore is a great option. I would highly encourage you, bottom line, if you're drinking tap water, don't. Bare minimum, filter your tap water. But the best option is Evermore. This is natural artesian water. It's underground aquifers on the north shore of Lake Pontchartrain, right there in Covington. They dug a well into that aquifer, and I mean, it's literally thousands of years in the making. That's why they call it Mother Nature's masterpiece. That's what they're pulling out of the ground. The only filtration is take like the sediment from the ground out of the water, and it goes right into the bottle. So it never touches air until you uncap it, take that first delicious sip. Learn more where you can buy it, great retailers or online, EVAMOR, Evermore.com.
Back here after further review on a Thursday. We're sending you into your July 4th weekend, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. There's been plenty of talk, especially around here, about the SEC quarterbacks, but that has always had a real focus on Garrett Nussmeier and where he fits into that pecking order, as it should, and it shouldn't surprise anybody. I mean, hello, we're in Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana and really all across the state, and this is, I mean, a very heavily central LSU focus, right? But, man, the more you take a step back and you look at the 2025 football season, there are just a lot of questions surrounding quarterbacks in the SEC. And it's not necessarily, Arch Manning or Garrett Nussmeier or anything like that. I mean, there's others. You have a mix of first-year starters and guys going into their second year starting in the league. Like, really what you don't have is the veteran coming back for their third or fourth year starting in the league this year. I mean, look around. Arch Manning's going into his first year as an SEC starting quarterback. He's got 2 starts in his career. That's it. Garrett Nussmeier, obviously going into his 2nd year as an SEC starting quarterback. Lenora Sellers going into his 2nd year as a starting quarterback. And then you have somebody like Austin Simmons at Ole Miss, who's going into his 1st year as an SEC starting quarterback. Prabula at Missouri, going into his 1st year as a starting quarterback. Gunnar Stockton at Georgia, going into his 1st year as an SEC starting quarterback. Really, the only guys you have that are returning for, a 3rd or 4th year as a starting quarterback are Blake Shapen at Mississippi State, and this is still his 2nd year as an SEC starting quarterback, and really his first full year. He only played in 4 games a year ago. And Taylon Green at Arkansas, who had started 2 years at Boise State, and now will start a 2nd year at Arkansas. But that's very odd. In a league like the SEC especially, where you just don't have at least that one guy coming back, man, who's been at the school for 3 years, going into his junior season or even as a senior coming back to start. And a lot of that, yes, of course, is transfer portal and all of that. And it's just the new era of college football and fine, whatever. We don't have to have that conversation. We have that conversation enough. I really don't want to talk about that. But I think it just creates a very interesting dynamic. Because one of the things you always look at when you're looking for a team to separate themselves, you look at quarterback. And for me, there's just more questions than answers in the SEC when it comes to quarterback. And I'll tell you the guy right off the bat that, man, when I was really thinking about this earlier, he was the first one that really kind of jumped into my mind. And it's Gunnar Stockton. Because Gunnar Stockton, as the backup to Carson Beck a year ago, and then when Beck got hurt, obviously he came into the SEC championship, played well against Texas in that game, and then played fine against Notre Dame, all things considered. Georgia was just severely limited in that ball game. They definitely had some restraints on him, but he threw for like almost 250 yards. He completed over 63% of his passes in that game. He didn't really turn the ball over. Like, he was fine. He was good. For what Georgia asked him to be on short note, he was good. And no one's talking about him. Or if you are, it's the conversation that a lot of people think you should be having about a guy like Arch Manning. If you do hear someone talk about Gunnar Stockton, it's, well, yeah, he showed some signs, but we got to see it. And in reality, he has one less start than Arch Manning does in the SEC and in college football. One less. For me, those two guys, not in talent. Like, I think Arch Manning is significantly more talented than Gunnar Stockton. Not to say I think Gunnar Stockton's a bad quarterback. I don't. But this is also his 4th year at Georgia, which is wild. He's a redshirt junior. And he's never really sought another opportunity or anything like that. But for me, both those guys are, well, I got to kind of see it from both. Like, if I look at Arch Manning's 2 starts, one was against ULM, the other was against Mississippi State. Against ULM, he struggled. He completed 52% of his passes, threw a couple picks, 250 yards. Against State, he was awesome. Now, State was far and away the worst team in the SEC, and they might have been arguably in the running for worst team in the country. They just were not good. And he balled out against them. But that's your sample size. Or against ULM and State, who was dreadful. I think Gunnar Stockton has a chance to have a really good season. Georgia's defense is going to be great. And their offense, while it's never pretty, it always seems to get the job done. Stockton's really that guy that I circle. When you get to Alabama, you have Ty Simpson. I mean, no matter what Alabama does, they're in that boat of a guy being in their first year starting in the SEC. And Ty Simpson couldn't beat out Jalen Milroe. That's not a slight at Milroe. It's not meant to be a slight at Milroe. But Jalen Milroe had to earn that job twice at Alabama. Like, it wasn't just, Bryce Young coming in as a 5-star. It's like, okay, here you go. This is our quarterback of the future. You look at a guy like Lenora Sellers, and everyone's going to say the same thing there. You need to see more from him consistently passing the ball. You're going to look at his statistics and go, okay, 65% completion, that's really good. When you break it down game by game, it was inconsistent there. But, I'm not the guy who's like, well, if you take this out, you take that out. No. You work with the entire sample size that you have. Those games happen too. But he had a running game to fall back on with Rocket Sanders and also his own legs that really kind of skyrocketed his star. DJ Lagway is the other one that's super interesting to me this year in the SEC. Outside of a guy like Gunnar Stockton, Lagway's next. Like, he's in that next tier for me of I really want to see what this looks like. Because when you look at Lagway's stats from a year ago, he only started half the season. Remember, Graham Mertz was the starter for Florida a year ago. Gets hurt. And then Aiden Warner, the walk-on from the Ivy League, started over Lagway at first. So you end up with 6 starts for Lagway. In essence, this is like his first season as a starting quarterback in the SEC. Now, because he has half a year under his belt, I mean, when you get to November, you should expect him to be a seasoned vet. But in that small sample size you had of him as a starter, and really just in general, the passing numbers weren't great. I mean, LSU's defense wasn't very good a year ago. DJ Lagway completed 50% of his passes against LSU. He also had a very good running game to fall back on with a freshman like Jaden Ball and Montrell Johnson. But he threw 12 touchdowns, 9 picks. Didn't crack 2,000 yards passing. Didn't run a whole lot. Everyone looks at him as dual threat. He ran for 100 yards. Didn't even get into the end zone. I get why everyone's high on him. Former number 1 quarterback in the country. Former 5-star. Dude's super athletic. Like, all of that, like, I understand. But you talk about a guy you still need to kind of wait and see on. It's Lagway. But he's got that ability that it's like, okay, if it does click, look out. He's going to be really special. And could be a key to Florida having a much better year than most anticipate. And boy, does Billy Napier need that. And the last guy that I really wanted to kind of talk about here is Austin Simmons at Ole Miss. Because while he's going into his first year as a starting quarterback in the SEC, when he was given any shred of extended time a season ago for the Rebs, he was really good. Everyone's going to point to Georgia, that Georgia game, where, we all had that same thought when Jackson Dart went down. It's like, oh boy, here comes the avalanche on Ole Miss. And Austin Simmons comes in and takes them right down the field. He ends up going 5 of 6 in that game for about 81 yards, takes them right down the field. They score a touchdown and start piling on. And everybody's just like, okay, whoa. The problem is, that's what we all remember. I think Austin Simmons fits Lane Kiffin's system incredibly well because I think just about any quarterback does. It's a very quarterback-friendly system, and he's extremely talented. And I'm not really in the camp that thinks Ole Miss is going to take some giant step back. I want to wait and see how their defense is. Their running game concerns me, but Lane's going to figure out a way to put up points. I think Pete Golden's a really good defensive coordinator. I think Ole Miss will be fine. I think Ole Miss can probably go 9-3 again this year. I think Austin Simmons is obviously a big part of that. But when I look at like smoothest transition, that's where I look at Ole Miss. Going from Dart to Simmons. I think that's probably your smoothest transition in the SEC from quarterback. Because I think there will be some growing pains for a guy like Arch Manning. Even though Sark, I mean, like outside of Lane Kiffin, Sark's the best play caller in the league, right? I mean, like those guys, quarterbacks are going to thrive in their offenses. So that'd be the other one I would go to, would be Texas. But it's just a fascinating year because you don't have, like Garrett Nussmeier is that guy, but even Garrett Nussmeier has only started 1 year. But he's a 4,000-yard passer. He didn't have a running game to fall back on, y'all. Not at all. It's a year that we're unaccustomed to in the SEC. Let's just put it that way. Because there isn't really one team outside of LSU and Texas that teams really look at and go, okay, yeah, the quarterback can put them over the top. Because there's more unanswered questions than, because there's more questions than answers. We'll see. It'll be a fascinating season. It'll be an absolutely fascinating season this year in the Southeastern Conference. All right, we're going to grab a break, come back on the other side. We'll go around the SEC, give you a quick thought on J.J. Bush picking Arkansas and not LSU. It's a Thursday edition of AFR presented by Decision Critical. Stay here.
After further review.
Brought to you by Action Industries, proud partner of LSU Athletics. ActionIndinc.com. That's where you find them online. You can find them on LinkedIn as well. And one of the things that I tell you often about Action Industries that I really respect the most is Action Industries, they know who they are as a business. They've been around since 1982. So in 42 years, they've really developed a reputation among the petrochemical and refinery markets. And so when it comes to those contractors, these industrial and commercial contractors, like their safety record is exemplary. The work that they do is exceptional, which is why they thrive on repeat business. Well, you don't keep getting hired for 42 years if you're not doing great work. That's Action Industries. But also they know who they are. There's some giant companies that do these mega projects, and they're not going to bid on a $200 million project. But if you have a 100-man job, that's their sweet spot. They're perfect for that. You need to get to know Action Industries. ActionIndinc.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play. with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luva, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
AFR is brought to you by First South Farm Credit. You know where to start. Your first call, your first visit, your first option when it comes to buying land in Louisiana is First South Farm Credit. And honestly, it doesn't even have to be land in Louisiana because First South Farm Credit can help you buy land in any of the contiguous 48. And they've got more than 40 branches in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. So if you're right here in the Southeast, there's First South Farm Credit locations all near you. But remember, like, for example, let's say a lot of our audience in New Orleans, of course. You're living in New Orleans, maybe you're starting to build a family, grow a family. You want to move to the North Shore like a lot of people do. You want to buy the 100 acres in Tangipahoa. You can. And First South Farm Credit can help because they have an office in Amite. So you can walk in there, you can do business with someone who talks like you, lives where you live, and help you buy land wherever you want to buy land in the contiguous 48. It's First South Farm Credit. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call, your first option should be First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com.
All right, welcome back in. Thursday edition of AFR, last show of the week for us here. We will observe the 4th of July holiday, take that off, be back on Monday. Presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Let's go ahead and go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Texas Longhorns.
Texas and Steve Sarkisian, they landed a commitment from linebacker Kosi Akpala on Thursday. Chose the Longhorns over Penn State, Miami, and Baylor. 6'2", 230-pounder. The number 281 overall prospect in the nation. Number 42 edge rusher. The Longhorns, though, will be moving him to linebacker, even though he's listed as an edge. They roll on.
The Florida Gators.
Billy Napier in Florida, they landed a commitment from 2026 defensive back C.J. Hester on Thursday. Hester, 6'1", 185-pounder out of the state of Florida, so an in-state guy. Chose the Gators over Auburn, Georgia, Syracuse, Iowa, others. Number 41 safety in the country, 68th overall recruit in the state of Florida. Even though he's listed as a safety, Florida plans on moving him to corner.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Speaking of corners, Ole Miss, they land a commitment from in-state corner Iverson McCoy. He chose the Rebels over Mississippi State on Thursday. He's a 3-star. He's listed as the number 475 overall prospect in the nation, the number 46 cornerback. Arkansas, Louisville, and Kentucky were his other offers, but he'll go play for Lane Kiffin and the Rebs.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
The Arkansas Razorbacks, they're working on their 2027 class already. They picked up their second commitment for that cycle. It is quarterback Joaquin Calviuclis. He announced in favor of the Hogs on Thursday. 6'2", 195-pounder. He's a 3-star. Chose the Razorbacks over Purdue, Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, West Virginia. He's the number 58 quarterback in the country for the class of 2027.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Couple baseball notes here. Tennessee, Tony Vitello, they landed a big one. Virginia left-handed pitcher Evan Blanco has chosen to play his baseball with the Vols. Also considered Mississippi State and Texas A&M. Had a down junior season, battled a lot of injuries at Virginia, but was thought of highly coming into 2025. A preseason second-team All-American. Followed a year in which he went 8-3 and punched out 99 and 99 and a third innings, made 18 starts. Vols might have a big piece to their weekend rotation there in Evan Blanco.
The Auburn Tigers.
And Butch Thompson and Auburn baseball, they added a catcher and lefty power bat in Logan Gregorio. Gregorio started his career at the Division III level, spent last season at Northern Illinois, where he led the team in batting average at .330, doubles, hits, hit 18 homers, and set a single-season record in total bases. He might have to play a different position, though, on the Plains. Of course, Auburn returns freshman All-American catcher Chase Fralick, and, of course, Lucas Steele at the position as well. But Gregorio, he'll play his final season of college ball on the Plains at Auburn. There you have it. That is around the SEC. Talked about Arkansas there with the commitment of the quarterback for 2027. Of course, obviously, they did land J.J. Bush, a linebacker out of the Mobile area in Alabama, over LSU on Wednesday night. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this because, I mean, quite frankly, the kid's not going to play for LSU, and that's fine. Like, go ahead. He wants to play in Fayetteville. That's fine. You focus more on the guys that are here. But this is an interesting one because Shea Dixon was here on Tuesday, and we talked about J.J. Bush, and the way Shea Dixon led that answer, we played it for you on the show yesterday, said LSU's the leader here, and they've led the whole time. Like, LSU has led the whole time. He said that Bush was not only Blake Baker's top priority, he was really the only priority that Blake Baker had made in the linebacker class up to this point. But Shea threw something out very, 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 very important in that same answer. There was a but. And the but was, well, it's the NIL era. And, if Arkansas, Missouri was the other finalist, they see this as a guy they absolutely have to have, be aware of that. And when you look at a late surge like this, that's what it was. We all know Arkansas's got a lot of big donors. Walmart, Tyson Chicken, go down. They got a lot of them.
Jerry,
Jarrah, Beck. Jarrah.
Sorry.
Yeah, Jarrah. They have funds to go get good players if they want to. This is one they thought they needed to get. Okay, you surge late, you win the race, that's fine. As we said, LSU has recruited extremely well at linebacker. Extremely well. We talked about that a little bit in the first segment of the show. Extremely well. But, I mean, you don't really have to look hard to see what happened here, right? I mean, LSU does not lose many recruiting battles to Arkansas, especially for somebody who, a guy like Blake Baker, made top priority. So the kid will go play his ball in Fayetteville. Best of luck. I mean, you'll see him every year, but, finishing second's important, right? Maybe he comes back around. We'll see. But good luck. I mean, enjoy probably going 6-6, 7-5 in Fayetteville and get your bag, kid. Nobody's gonna blame you for that. At least I know I'm not. So J.J. Bush picks Arkansas over LSU. But LSU landed Trenton Henderson, which was just a massive get at a massive position of need, a 5-star, and we went through it in the first segment. And I mean, I think that's a guy who can, you get him here, you get him through the early signing date and all that, and he's potentially an impact player for you as a freshman in some capacity. So that's huge. You win some, you lose some. It's going to be a big month for LSU on the recruiting trail. All right, we're going to grab a break. Come back, wrap up hour number 1 of AFR here on this Thursday. We've had a lot of uniform talk this week, whether it's the patches on LSU's jerseys or things like that. One more note. There could be some new uniforms coming to a New Orleans team. We'll tell you about it next to close out hour number 1.
AFR.
Brought to you by Glow Resources. If you are a business owner, if you're an HR manager, a VP, an ops manager, if you're the person in charge of hiring at your job, at your place of business, and you're having trouble finding the right people, you need Glow Resources. And I want to remind you, Glow Resources, they're exceptional when it comes to skilled blue-collar workers and also white-collar divisions. Remember, Glow Resources has a full professional placement division. So we're talking about office administrators, executive-level assistants, assistant controllers, plant managers, scheduling assistants, basically any type of office job. Accounting, HR, marketing, managerial, supervisor roles. If you're having trouble finding those people and sometimes hard to fill roles, Glow Resources specialize. They recruit nationwide. For example, they had a Baton Rouge company that was looking for an engineer. They found the employee in Florida to work the job in California. It's Glow Resources. Check them out online today. GLO, glowresources.com.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment. Dave's back on. Coors Light. Choose chill.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Happy 4th of July from our friends over at Rouse's, and to celebrate, the 4-day sale is going on right now through Sunday, July the 6th. Massive savings on darn near everything in the store. Which store? Every store. Pork back ribs, Kraft barbecue sauce, buy one, get one free. Sweet red cherries, only $1.98 a pound. Celebrate the 4th of July and let our friends at Rouse's help you do it. You know the drill at Rouse's. They've got 70 locations from Lake Charles to Orange Beach and points in between. So if you're throwing something on the grill, you're having friends over while you jump in the pool, you're celebrating our nation's independence, and you need all the fixings and trimmings and sides and cold beverages for the adults and the kids, you know where to go. The best place with the best deals, the red, white, and savings. The 4-day sale is going on right now at Rouse's. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com, Rouse's. This feels like home.
All right, closing out hour number 1 here on a Thursday, sending you into your 4th of July weekend. Few things get a lot of people up in arms like uniforms. I'm guilty. I'm one of those people. But a new uniform is always exciting for your team, right? You always get a little, you get a little antsy. Like, oh, man, how's it going to look? What game might they wear it in? Things like that. And then it ends up sometimes being the smoky gray uniforms that Tennessee released today, which are just absolutely horrible. But in the NFL, they've always been real stingy on their uniforms. Oh, you can only have one helmet. And then they went to where you can have multiple. And it was back to one, and now it's multiple. Then you had the color rush, and that was really cool. And they've laxed those rules, and they're doing it again. And I think that's great. I think it adds something to the game, in my opinion. There's 15 teams. So almost half the league in the NFL is getting new uniforms this year. Either a new alternate with a helmet or just a new helmet or things of that nature. There's also that rivalries series that they're starting this season with the AFC East and the NFC West. Those two divisions, they each get like a special rivalry uniform like they would for the Color Rush, and they'll wear it against their division rival and vice versa. If you're wondering, the NFC South gets that honor in 2028. So you have a little bit of ways to go there for like, Saints Falcons or Saints Bucks or whatever there. But the New Orleans Saints are one of the 15 teams that will unveil a new uniform for this season. And we have the date, July 22nd. The Saints will unveil a new alternate uniform and helmet. And my question, Beck, Paul, I want to bring y'all in on this, is what do we think the Saints are going to do? Because I will tell you, I have two conditions. Condition number one, this cannot replace the Color Rush uniform, because the Saints Color Rush uniform is the best, arguably the best uniform in the NFL. For me, I think it is. I think it's beautiful. I wish the helmet matched it, but other than that, like the jersey pants combo with the Color Rush, it's incredible. Number two, this better get rid of whatever abomination of a rendition that black helmet is that they currently have, because that thing sucks. I'm all for a black helmet, but the one they have now is absolutely terrible. Those are my two conditions. It cannot replace the Color Rush because those are phenomenal, and this better replace the black helmet.
I think this is going to be, and this is what I hope. I think it's going to be a throwback with the gold helmet with the old logo on it, because I think, ever since they've worn the throwback uniforms, it's always just looked weird because they wear the current gold helmets.
It doesn't match.
Yeah, it doesn't match. So I think they get rid of the black helmet and replace it with we'll just get the complete throwback uniform with the original logo on the different shade of gold helmet. I think like yes, Paul's pulling it up. I think that's what they're going to go with.
That might do away with the Color Rush. See, I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know. To me, it always looks weird when they wear the current helmet with it.
Paul, do you have a thought on what they might do?
Yeah, I think the uniforms all the Saints have are great. I think it's the helmets that's the problem.
Yeah.
You either match the gold with the gold jersey, the gold numbering, or I don't even mind the black helmet. It's just bad. The fleur-de-lis too small.
It was not good.
The fleur-de-lis too small. That thing they have in the middle of it with all the polka dot fleur-de-lis.
Yeah, you can do a stripe in the middle.
Yes. Take the helmet that you have, and where it's gold, make it black. Where it's black, make it gold. It's not hard. That was not a very hard thing that they had to do, and somehow they screwed it up. You touched on something there, the gold jersey. That's what I think they're going to do. I think they're bringing back the gold jersey.
Yeah.
I don't know what else, because you already have an icy white combo that you can make. You already have the black on black combo that you can make. The Color Rush is phenomenal. Obviously, you have your traditional gold, white, gold, or gold, black, gold. I think they're going to bring back the gold jersey. And I don't quite know how I feel about that, because I was never really a fan of the gold jersey that the New Orleans Saints had. I didn't either. It's gaudy. It's
a lot.
The old gold that the New Orleans Saints has, it's a really nice. Well, I guess they don't really use the old gold anymore. That's more your throwback back.
Yes.
But I don't really know how to describe it.
It's too much. You can't do a jersey color like that.
It's gaudy.
Yeah.
It's perfect as an accent for your pants or a stripe or the helmet or something like that. The interesting thing would be for me, and what I would really like to see them do, because see, Paul just pulled that up. Gold helmet, gold jersey, black. That looks horrible.
No.
That looks so bad. I'm going to throw something out there. We got a few seconds. I want y'all's opinion. White helmet, gold jersey, white pants. What do we think?
I can't see it in my head, but it sounds a little bit off to me.
I think it's the only way to make that gold jersey potentially work.
If you're going a white helmet, you got to go all white. White
Okay.
helmet, white jersey, white pants.
That'd make the color rush even better if you had a white helmet to go with that. That'd be fantastic. We'll see what they do. July 22nd, the Saints are announcing and unveiling a new uniform and a new helmet. Hour 2 of AFR is next.
AFR.
Kill mold, remove odor, other harmful pathogens, commercial or residential. As a matter of fact, Parish Restoration, I love the process, by the way. If you go to the website at parishrestoration.com, you can see videos of their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. So you see exactly what it looks like. Very cool. But they have fogged, over at Parish Restoration, they fogged one of the largest buildings in the entire state of Louisiana. So it doesn't matter if it's your office building, your church, whatever it may be, school, or your home. They can even fog your car. Maybe your car has a weird odor, musty smell. Maybe you bought a used car from a smoker and you can't get that smoky smell out. This will do it. They'll come while you're at work, fog it. By the time you're done with work for the day, boom, you're back in a clean smelling, fresh smelling vehicle. It's Parish Restoration. Learn more at parishrestoration.com. Parishrestoration.com. Do business with someone you know. Parishrestoration.com.
At Luba Workers Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website, LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net, powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
I'm Christine Lisi. Guardians right-hander Luis Ortiz under investigation by Major League Baseball after a betting integrity firm flagged a pair of his pitches that had received unusual gambling activity. One on June 15th, another on June 27th. Ortiz was put on non-disciplinary leave through July 17th. Lakers filled their most glaring need this NBA offseason, agreed on a deal with center DeAndre Ayton. Meantime, speculation continues about what LeBron James will do next. Opted into the final year of his contract, his agent told ESPN LeBron wants to compete for a title and will closely monitor what LA does this summer. Andscape writer David Dennis Jr.
The Lakers are not concerned about LeBron. The Lakers are concerned about Luka Doncic. This is all about Luka and what's right for him. Of course, LeBron is a secondary piece to that organization. They want him there and all that stuff. But this is all about making moves for Luka Doncic.
Mavs assistant Jared Dudley finalizing a deal to become the top assistant for the Nuggets under head coach David Adelman. NHL Hurricanes signed forward Nick Ehlers, 6 years, $51 million. He was the final prominent unrestricted free agent available.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Cannon from Unsportsmanlike. I just wanted to wish all of our loyal listeners a happy 4th of July, and thank you for joining us each and every morning at 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's rock! Go!
Off and running hour number 2 after further review here on a Thursday, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Musso in for Moscona, Jacob Beck, and Paul O'Neill along for the ride. And we're glad to have you along for the ride as well. Excuse me, as we send you into your 4th of July holiday weekend. 1 hour down, 2 hours to go. Ross Jackson going to hop aboard with us. Of course, Locked on Saints, LouisianaSports.net. He'll kick around a few topics, man, that he went into, a couple offseason moves the Saints need to make over at LouisianaSports.net. A piece on a couple of draft picks as well and what their role could be early as rookies. So I kind of want to kick that around with Ross plenty here. And we'll start here this hour with an update on the Heisman odds. It's July. Understand we're two months away from the college football season, roughly. And this is going to be one of your last updates kind of that you get. And there is a bit of a change at the top. These odds come from Circa Sportsbook. And for the longest time, looking at other books, DraftKings, FanDuel, like BetOnline, all of them, you had Arch Manning and Garrett Nussmeier running co-favorite there as, preseason favorite for the Heisman Trophy. Arch Manning is now the solo favorite at 5-1. I know. You're shocked. Stop the presses, right? Garrett Nussmeier follows right behind him at 8-1, and then Cade Klubnik from Clemson is at 9-1. And I don't think you really expect anything different than those three guys to be your top three, but it's very intriguing because each of them plays a very, very pivotal game week 1 of the season that will be the first step in shaping this race. Arch Manning travels with Texas up to Columbus to face Ohio State. And, of course, Cade Klubnik and Garrett Nussmeier face off against each other in Clemson. Let's say Arch Manning and Texas win that game on the road at Ohio State. Arch Manning, and he plays well, he will steamroll out in front in these Heisman Trophy odds. He will be an overwhelming favorite at that point. The winner of the LSU Clemson game will be the one behind him. And we'll also see an increase in their odds. But I would think Manning would still, given name, everything, people are going to throw a lot of money there. And he would take a large lead. If he loses, I don't want to say if Texas loses that game against Ohio State week 1, which I think is very possible, by the way. You're looking at the winner of LSU Clemson, whether that's Garrett Nussmeier or Cade Klubnik. being the favorite for the Heisman Trophy when you head into week 2. The interesting aspect of this, though, is the favorite, preseason for sure, rarely wins. I mean, last year, Travis Hunter wins the Heisman Trophy last year. Travis Hunter's odds were long preseason. So I guess that's really kind of bad news for Arch Manning, right? Yeah. And good news maybe for everybody else. But what you always want to find, and look, obviously, Garrett Nussmeier, capable of winning the Heisman Trophy. Like, we fully understand that. Everything there lines up for Nuss. He's going to have good numbers. Like, he's going to be very productive. He's the only returning 4,000-yard passer in college football. And all LSU did was go out and get him even more weapons. LSU is set to have a good season and be in playoff contention. And, a lot of people are predicting them to make the college football playoff. You need that, obviously. Manning, Klubnik, they're all going to have that as well. That's why it's going to be so interesting to see which one of them can really take that first step to steering the Heisman race, getting in the driver's seat of the Heisman race after week number 1. But again, what you always want to look for, because the favorite rarely wins the Heisman Trophy, the preseason favorite, is value. And, Taylor and I were kicking this around earlier. Now, I'll give him a big hat tip for this because I think he found the value. And it's Julian Sayin at Ohio State at 20-1. Because Sayin is in that same position that Nussmeier, Manning, Klubnik are in. He has a marquee game to open up the season. He's facing off against Arch Manning. There's going to be a lot of eyes on that Texas-Ohio State game, even though it's at 11 a.m. Shout out Big Noon Kickoff. Just continue to do that. What a weird league. Sayin goes out. I mean, it's the marquee game in the morning window. First weekend of college football. Everybody's going to be locked in. Sayin goes out. He puts up a good day. Ohio State wins that game. You're not getting him at 20-1 again. And you're looking at a team in Ohio State that could be 7-0 if you look at their schedule, heading into their game against Penn State the first Saturday in November. He's got weapons to throw to. I mean, look no further than Jeremiah Smith, but he's also got Carnell Tate.
And honestly, though, now that you're saying that, Jeremiah Smith could be his biggest problem.
He could be. Jeremiah Smith is at 16-1.
Yeah.
He'd be the other value play that you'd attack right now, because when you look for a non-quarterback this year, that's your answer. Like, the only other one to even consider would be Ryan Williams at Alabama, but their quarterback deal that they have to solve, and also they're kind of, to me, in the same spot they were a year ago at wide receiver, where you don't really have anyone great opposite him that you know of. I mean, you had Jeremy Bernard, but you had that last year. Well, that didn't go great. Teams started doubling Ryan Williams and kind of took him away. What Alabama's going to need is Derek Meadows to go in there and actually just be a stud 5-star freshman right off the bat. So that's why, you look at Jeremiah Smith, but that's when you get into the whole, quarterback or wide receiver there. And if Ohio State's having a great year and Jeremiah Smith's having a great year, a lot of that's going to come from Julian Sayin. So, I mean, you look at that, man, and you go, all right, Ohio State, they might not be as dominant as they were a year ago, but, I mean, they're still going to have a good defense. Ohio State, actually, for what it's worth, they lead the way here with these odds, with the most players on it. They have Smith, Sayin, CJ Carr, and then also Caleb Downs. Caleb Downs is not going to win the Heisman Trophy, mind you. But, again, you still have that guy on your defense as well. So, Buckeyes are going to be a very good team. And, again, if Sayin's in that same spot that Manning, Klubnik, and Nussmeier are, if if he wins, or if his team wins that game against Texas, 20-1, no more. You're going to see him shoot up the odds boards there. And that could just be your value play in the Heisman Trophy. Just to round it out, the conversation, Drew Allar was at 12-1 behind Klubnik. Then Jeremiah Smith, we talked about a little bit at Ohio State, 16-1. You had DJ Lagway at Florida, 17-1. Lenora Sellers, 19-1. I mean, that is going to make Vegas a lot of money. Both those bets there. Dante Moore, who transferred from UCLA to Oregon at 20-1. I don't really know what to make of Oregon's team this year. They definitely have some weapons, but quarterback, that's a big question mark. I mean, you're replacing Dylan Gabriel, Dylan Gabriel in his own right a year ago was a heavy favorite for the Heisman Trophy early. And at one point, people thought might be, potentially a top 10 pick in the draft. So that's going to be interesting to see with them. But you do have a change at the top there with Arch Manning now taking sole possession as the preseason favorite for the Heisman Trophy. Garrett Nussmeier right behind him at 8-1. Cade Klubnik right behind him at 9-1. First week of the season, man, it's going to shape the Heisman Trophy race early between Manning, Nussmeier, Klubnik, and Julian Sain at Ohio State. We're going to grab a break, come back on the other side. Ross Jackson joins the show next here on AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured and it's not your fault, do what injured people in Louisiana have done for more than 30 years. Call Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. 888-8888. It's all eights. 888-8888. I don't even need to give you the area code because no matter where you are in the state, it doesn't matter. Just dial 888-8888 for Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Gordon does an awesome job, man. He's a great person. They've been so invested in our communities with all the charitable and service work that they do. They give back into the communities that they represent, no matter what time of year. If it's the bike giveaway for kids around Christmas time, if it's the laptop giveaway around back to school time, if it's the charitable work they do during October for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, they're always involved in the community. We tell you all the time, of course, about the G Team and what Gordon's done with NIL and the opportunities that he's afforded student athletes. Just a great, great community partner. If you've been injured, you need representation, go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans. We have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
There it is, the extra mile.
on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies. We've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalvr.com.
So, the New Orleans Saints off-season, I'm using air quotes around off-season because it's not actually a real thing. The Saints have no off-season. And if you don't believe me, just go to LouisianaSports.net, click on the Saints tab, and you'll see that Ross Jackson has just been pumping out content after content after content all week long. And a lot of it caught my eye, and I was intrigued by virtually all of it. So I said, hey, Ross, why don't you come on and kick some of it around with me? So Ross Jackson joins us now, of course, on Twitter, at Ross Jackson NOLA, LouisianaSports.net, Locked On Saints. He's the best. Ross, how are you?
Hey, buddy. Doing great. Thanks so much for having me on, man. Glad to be here with you.
Absolutely. So, I mean, seriously, it seemed like every day I just opened Twitter or went to LouisianaSports.net, there was something else there that's like, oh, Danny Stutzman. Yeah, wait a minute. Oh, Jonas Sanker. Oh, 2 off-season moves they should make. Alontae Taylor. So let's kick it around. Let's start with the offseason moves, Ross. And one of them that you start with is extending Alontae Taylor. Now, obviously, he's not up for contract yet, but this is a practice you see a lot in the NFL where teams try to get this done. Is there an avenue there for the Saints to extend Alontae Taylor before the 2025 season?
Yeah, I think so. We got to remember that it's a 2-lane avenue, though.
Yeah.
So it's not just, so yes, the Saints should be looking to do this, but Alontae Taylor and his team of representatives, they might want to say, hey, we're going to bet on that 2025 season, and try to, bring the bag up for 2026 and hit unrestricted free agency where they can create some bidding wars and things like that. But I do think that the avenue is absolutely there. I think that the Saints will have the desire to get that done as well. The question will be, is it good for both sides? And so for New Orleans, the reason why I think it would be important is like Alontae Taylor fitting into that star role in Brandon Staley's defense. That is a quintessential role for his scheme. And if you find that he's going to fit in there well, that he's going to be the guy at that position, then I think you want to try to get ahead of it and get him kind of locked down for an extended period of time. He's excited about the opportunity to work with Brandon Staley and the way that Brandon Staley plans to utilize him, build on that excitement, capitalize on that excitement, and see if you can keep him around for beyond 2024 or 2025. I'm sorry.
Coaches and players are never going to really talk about contracts. They don't like to do that, and that's understandable. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
But what you often see, and again, you said two-way street and totally understand, what you often see with these sometimes is when there is mutual interest, it can linger into the season. Is that something you potentially see here? Or if the Saints approach and they can't get it done before, would they want that cloud kind of hanging over a first-year head coach in Kellen Moore?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, Kellen Moore won't have anything to do with it, right? It's something that would be going on off to the side. Alontae Taylor's not, walking into meetings with Mickey Loomis to talk about his contract. It's Mickey Loomis and Kai Harley and the front office negotiating with Alontae Taylor's team. And so at most, there's an awareness that there are these types of conversations going on, but it wouldn't create any kind of hindrance for Kellen Moore. And really, it would still allow Alontae Taylor to focus on what's going on the field. We've seen this over the course of the past few years. The Saints have extended some player either in training camp or, as you mentioned, early on in the season. We saw it with Marshawn Lattimore week 1 of the season when they traveled to Jacksonville to go up against Green Bay. We saw it, I think it was week 2 or week 3 against the Raiders years ago with Demario Davis. We saw it just a few years ago as well in Green Bay up again with the Carl Granderson extension. Last year, we saw Pete Werner extended during training camp. These types of things are pretty standard across the NFL. and have been a practice that the Saints have kind of gone through on multiple occasions. So I think they do a good job of handling it without allowing it to become a distraction. And so Kellen Moore, Brandon Staley, Alante Taylor, ideally are some of the least impacted by the conversations because it's the Saints front office and Alante Taylor's team that are having the conversations until something's agreeable for both sides.
Just using past history with the New Orleans Saints, I mean, Ross, you've covered the team for a long time. What do you think the basis of a deal would look like?
I think you're looking at something that's probably 3 or 4 years that would go beyond sort of this 2025 season if he enters this kind of contract year. And I think that you're probably looking at something that ranges, I don't know, there are slot corners out there that get paid $20 million a year. There are those that are, down towards the $10, $12 million per year. So something that's probably front-loaded that allows them, that's in between that range, that allows them to put guaranteed money in the early portions of the deal, push some of the larger base salaries towards the back end of the deal, but then have some non-guaranteed money in the final year. And that kind of helps everything balance out. So you can give the, market value, annual value per year, but still give yourself an outlet if things don't work out, or if there's injuries, or if there's any of those other things, or there's not a role for him, or he wants to pursue another opportunity. Like, you can kind of build a contract that would do that. So I would say something front loaded, something 3 to 4 years, and something kind of in that wide range of those annual values for slot corners, which really, really kind of run the gamut.
The other offseason move you suggested the Saints make also pertains to the defensive side of the ball, and it's signing Matthew Judon, edge rusher Matthew Judon, to a 1-year deal. Why is Judon a good fit for the New Orleans Saints?
Yeah, I think the Saints would benefit from having another edge rusher in their rotation. Really, they've got 3 guys that aren't major question marks, and that's Chase Young, Carl Granderson, Cam Jordan. And so I think adding another guy that would be a little bit less of a question mark, that comes in on a super affordable 1-year deal, even though he's on the back part of his career, he had 5.5 sacks with the Atlanta Falcons last year, which has been a historically bad pass rush for 2 decades now, and that would have tied for the lead amongst defensive ends for sacks on the Saints defense last year, because both Chase Young and Carl Granderson also had 5.5 sacks. And so I think you would get somebody that has some familiarity with the coaching staff. He was with Jay Rodgers over in Atlanta, but then that puts him in a more advantageous system where he's not dropping back into coverage as much, where he's serving as a pass rush specialist, or where he gets the opportunity to be able to play to his kind of high standard and high level that he's still producing at and so capable of producing that at this point in his career. So I think it would just be a good fit. And would allot New Orleans another player to come in for 2025 and help contribute to that pass rush without as much of a learning curve as maybe some young guys they could have pursued in the draft, and then helps them kind of add another guy that's a little bit less of a question mark than some of the other younger guys that they have on the roster.
Is edge rusher the last position the Saints really need to address, or is there another one?
I think there's ones that, that they could probably look to address as well, but it's one of the last ones that has someone or some players on the market that would actually be helpful. Like, maybe tight end is a place where they could look to add more talent, but there's not really a very inspiring tight end market out there right now. Maybe running back's another place where they can continue to look to opportunities to continue to populate, but not really a very inspiring running back market that's out there right now, or those that are available in the open market. Cornerbacks may be another place. I mean, Asante Samuel Jr. is a guy that has some familiarity, or a lot of familiarity, with Brandon Staley. He visited with the team back in May, was going to get an early July medical recheck with the hopes of signing with the team in July or August. That might be a name to watch, certainly a name to watch. And so I think there are other places, but I think if you're looking for the place where there's talent still available that could come in and give you a lot of bang for the buck based on what the position needs are, edge rusher is a place that makes sense.
Talking with Ross Jackson, LouisianaSports.net, and of course the Locked On Saints podcast. You can get him on Twitter X at Ross Jackson Nola. All right, Ross, let's talk about the rookies, because you wrote a piece on 2 of them that caught my eye. Start with Danny Stutzman first, of course, linebacker from Oklahoma. Had a great college career, tackling machine, and I think a lot of people were intrigued by that pick. And we just haven't really heard much about Danny Stutzman. Why?
Yeah, I think a big part of it is that the Saints haven't really done much outside of 9-on-7s or 7-on-7s. Really didn't do anything outside of that when it came to OTAs, minicamp, stuff like that. And so without any real kind of rushing reps and things like that, we didn't really get to see him do the thing that he's most notable for, which is his ability to read play flows and go and attack the football or the ball carrier, his ability to shoot the right gaps and, fit runs and all these other things. We didn't really get to see much of that in a fast-paced environment where it would stand out, where he would catch your eye. And so I think that that's probably a big reason why we haven't heard a ton from him when it comes to his play on the field. And, there weren't a bunch of highlight things that kind of, popped off about him or anything like that. But I'll tell you that inside the facility with the people that I've talked to, they're really excited about this young man. They love his intelligence. They love his leadership capabilities, his vocal, like how vocal he is. And they like what they're seeing from him from that sort of football coach nuance perspective where you can watch a half-speed walkthrough and go, oh, that's a good thing that I just saw. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think that from those angles, that's where he's impressing. But once he gets into training camp and they start running more team drills, 11-on-11s, I think he'll get a better opportunity to stand out at that point.
What role fits him best in this edition of the Saints in 2025? Will you still have Werner? You still have Demario Davis?
Yeah, I think right now, considering that those guys are going to be holding down that position group for right now, I would imagine him being the primary backup to Pete Werner makes the most sense. If, Demario Davis needs a spell, then I think that you move Pete Werner over to that linebacker spot where he's got the green dot, he's got the communications, that you let him be the guy that's quarterbacking the defense, and then Danny Stutzman plugs in to where Pete Werner was. And then eventually you're probably giving Danny Stutzman the opportunities to kind of be that guy, the green dot guy and things like that. But I think that's an off season or two away. That feels like the thing that makes the most sense. He'll have to earn that role. I think he still has to leapfrog a guy like Nephi Sewell, who the Saints feel really good about. And then I think on three linebacker sets, when they do go to those, he could be one of the guys that mixes into those opportunities as well, especially because of his ability to play the run.
All right, last but not least, the other rookie you kind of featured in on was Jonas Saker, and his ability to get on the field and potentially start as a rookie, which I think Ross at safety, they go out, they sign Justin Reed, they obviously have Tyrann Mathieu, two veteran options back there who have played football with each other in the past in this league with in KC. Mm-hmm. How does Saker fit in there to where he can beat out those guys and get the starting spot?
Yeah, I think the thing that becomes really interesting is a kind of a deeper dive into Tyrann Mathieu's new contract. He has a $6 million base salary, so expect him to be on the field. There's no doubt about that, and expect him to be a starter, continue to be a starter. I think he still leads this team in interceptions, for instance, in 2025. Okay. But the thing that becomes really interesting is that he has all of these incentives that are based on playtime. So, percentage of snaps taken on defense and things like that. And so with those incentives, it's one of two things. Either the Saints are looking at, do they reduce his role, kind of like what they did with Cam Jordan last year, or do they look at, and therefore like utilizing him in moments that makes the most sense and maximizing him in certain game situations, matchups, things like that? Or is it just simply them trying to protect themselves? Because Tyrann Mathieu had a couple of injuries throughout the 2025 season that he either played through or wasn't able to finish a game. He never missed a start, but there were certain times where he, got banged up and had to be off the field. And so both of those things and both of those sort of things that the Saints are kind of preparing themselves for would potentially open up opportunities for Jonas Saker. So if Saker can continue to kind of play to his brand as this downhill physical safety that can also go out there and make some plays, particularly taking away crossing routes, something that's killed this team's defense in the past, and then be that active player in terms of his click and close ability, closing in on screen, outlet passes, 8.5 tackles for a loss last year at Virginia, and be that sort of, and take on a little bit more of that role, then if he's playing that and he's doing that at a high level in training camp, then he probably becomes one of the primary guys that would step in those cases where Tyrann Mathieu is not on the field for whatever reason. And so it would be a combination of things that kind of him playing well and living up to what it is that he did at Virginia gets him in position to take advantage if there's anything that allows him to be on the field that happens with Tyrann Mathieu. So I think it's more of like a joint situation there to where multiple things have to happen for him to get there. But if he has the talent, shows the talent, and does what it is in practice that got him drafted in the first place, he'll be waiting in the wings.
See what I mean? No offseason. It doesn't exist for the New Orleans Saints. Y'all go to LouisianaSports.net, read Ross Jackson stuff. Of course, Locked On Saints as well. Follow him on Twitter, X, at Ross Jackson. Ross, we appreciate it as always, man. You have a great and safe 4th of July weekend.
Thank you, buddy. Back at you. You take care. Stay safe. Thanks so much for having me on.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure. Thank you for joining us. We're going to grab a break, but first, Parrish Construction and Roofing.
By Parrish Construction and Roofing. The Louisiana legislature is in session, and there's actually a bill right now that would eliminate door knockers in Louisiana, make it illegal for roofing companies to go door-to-door knocking to solicit business. As members of the Louisiana Roofing Contractors Association at Parrish Construction and Roofing, we wholeheartedly endorse that legislation because we will never door knock. That's also such a way that some of the less reputable companies get around and take advantage of people. And we hear about it every year during storms. And you have out-of-town companies come in. If you need a roof repair, replacement, you got an issue, ignore the door knockers and call a reputable company that's been in the community, that's community-related, community-based. We'd love it if you give us the opportunity to earn your business. We're never coming to knock on your door. When you're ready and you want to give us a shout, we'd be more than happy to help in every way that we can. Go to the homepage of our website. You see a testimonial from Coach Kim Mulkey right there. We've done work for Coach. Do business with someone you know. Coach Mulkey did. We'd love to help you as well. Parrish Construction and Roofing. Go to parrishbuilt.com, parrishbuilt.com.
All right, we're going to grab our break here. Come back on the other side. Ronnie Rance going to hop aboard with us, talk some Baton Rouge Rougarou. They're having a great year and are about to close it out with some bonus baseball coming. That's next here on AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Duplessis Builders, duplessisbuilders.net, duplessisbuilders.net. Y'all, whenever we talk about the pool building process, I don't want this to be boring to you, but it's important that I point out how Duplessis goes about their process because it gives color and description to why they were able to give a 10-year workmanship warranty. Like when some companies say, we'll build your pool in 2 weeks, like that's not a real thing. At Duplessis, the excavation takes 2 to 3 days. Then they'll shoot the gunite. Takes 21 days for gunite, for concrete to cure. So they're not going to proceed until those 21 days have passed. The product will last longer, so they're not going to rush the process. After you let that tiling and coping cure for 2 weeks, then you add water. Before you add water, then you plaster. So it's why a lot of pools start to fail in 2 to 3 years because they don't do it right. You'll never worry about that with Duplessis Builders.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
These are are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar, but instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
All right, rolling along, Thursday edition of AFR, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Walking you up to your 4th of July weekend here on AFR. Welcome into the studio, Ronnie Rance, Ruger Ron, the Baton Rouge Rougarou. They are 21-4.
In Fuego.
In Fuego, and have already clinched the first half of the division in the Texas Collegiate Summer League. Y'all are going to host a playoff game. We'll talk about that, but before, you have a final 4-game series. How are you, Ronnie?
I'm doing great, man. Happy 4th of July weekend, everybody. A lot going on, and what better place to spend the 4th of July, right? Baseball is America's it's America's pastime, and you get to do it with the Baton Rouge Rougarou this weekend. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4-game series. All of them start at 7 o'clock.
Who we got on the schedule?
Well, actually, the second best team in the league behind us, the Victoria Generals, come to town. The defending champs of the TCL, Summer Texas Collegiate League. They'll be in town today and tomorrow, and then Saturday, Sunday is Seguin River Monsters.
Okay,
right outside of San Antonio. They're coming to town, so come check us out.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. 4th of July weekend in the ballpark kind of just goes hand in hand. Fireworks, drink specials. What we got going on?
Yeah, so tonight, Thirsty Thursday, 2 for 1 on all beers, 2 for 1 on everything that's liquid tonight. We also have twisted teas and other things.
You need some extra security over there at Pete Goolsby giving away 2 for 1 drinks, Ron?
I think our fans know how to act.
All right.
Hopefully. And then tomorrow night, of course, what would be we always have Friday night fireworks. It just happened to fall on the 4th of July, so we'll have a big show. That happens during the 7th inning stretch. Usually, probably, 9:15, about the time that we'll be doing the big fireworks show tomorrow night at the ballpark. And then Saturday, I was inspired when I was in college going to Sports Illustrated, which became Reggie's, which is now Fred's.
Yeah.
And they used to have Beat the Clock. And we're doing a Beat the Clock concession special Saturday from 6 to 7, every Saturday from 6 to 7, 6 to 6:30, 50% off all concessions, 6:30 to 7, 25% off all concessions. Takes you right up to first pitch at 7 o'clock. So it benefits you to come early, get some Tremonti's hamburgers and hot dogs and sausage and all that stuff.
Dinner and a show at the ballpark. That's what you get. I know as well something that y'all are going to do. You said it's for the last regular season game.
So it's the last regular season Saturday game, which is July 26th. Our last regular season game is the 27th. But that's Saturday, July 26th. We've got 15 home games in July. So you pick a night. brrougarou.com. You can go see the schedule. But on the 26th, we have a special night that's near and dear to my heart, which is Skip Burtman night at the ballpark. And here's what's going on. We're going to honor Coach. He's going to be out there. He's going to do a book signing with Glenn Guilbeau, the Louisiana Sports Hall of Famer, award-winning writer who wrote the book Everything Matters with Skip Burtman. They'll both be there to do a book signing from 6 to 7 on the 26th. All of this presented by Jerry Lane Enterprises. And then at 7 o'clock, we'll do a special ceremony. All former players and their families are invited on the field. We've got a lot of LSU players that are going to be coming I've talked to. And then we got a little surprise I don't want to give away, a major surprise that we're going to do. But the big cool thing is his grandson, Ezra Pate, Skip Burtman's grandson, is on the team. He's a pitcher for the Rougarou. He plays at Bates College in in Maine. He was redshirted this year, had a knee injury, but he's healthy. He's been pitching okay for us this summer. He is going to pitch in that game, and Coach Burtman's going to be there to watch.
That's
so
awesome.
that's pretty neat. That Skip will be in the stands watching his grandson on Skip Bertman night.
That is a really cool thing. 'Cause, I mean, as you said, he plays in Maine. I mean, I can't imagine Skip's getting up to Maine too much to get to see his grandson pitch. That's a really cool.
And we've got 20 Skip Bertman Rougarou signed bobbleheads that we're going to be raffling off that night.
Wait a minute. So is this a Rougarou bobblehead?
It's Skip Bertman in a Rougarou uniform.
That's what I was hoping it would be. Goodness great. Because that's what I was going to ask you. Is it just a Rougarou bobblehead that Skip signed, or is this like a Skip Bertman?
No, it's him in a Rougarou uniform.
Good.
He's going to sign 20 of them, and we're going to give one out every half inning.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Bobblehead night. They did. I believe it was in 2001 in Skip's last season as the head coach. They did a Skip Bertman bobblehead giveaway at the box. I used to have it, but it broke. I
love a bobblehead night. Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? They're great. It's a classic baseball promotion.
Yeah.
So that's the 26th. Skip
July
Bertman
26th. Put it on your calendar.
But July 4th weekend, I mean, they have so much going on. Y'all get out there to Pete Goolsby Field. 4-game series, fireworks, 2 for 1 drink specials on Thursday, a beat the clock, everything you could want, and a pretty darn good team. They're 21-4. That's awesome. Ronnie, while I have you here, though, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame big weekend that y'all just had. I mean, Nick Saban goes in, big wit. You mentioned Dale Weiner to me in the break. How was the weekend up there?
It was a fantastic weekend. This was my 9th year as the CEO of the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, and I would say that this was my favorite one we've done, favorite weekend. A lot of LSU ties, naturally. But the coolest moment for me is Danny Broussard brought 176 people, head basketball coach from St. Thomas More, been knowing him a long time. My brother's sister graduated from St. Thomas More High School. But Dale Weiner, who, of course, Catholic High legend, and Neil Weiner, his son, represented him all weekend long because it's been well documented. Dale's suffering from Parkinson's and dementia. He was in the hospital for 40 days. He gets out on Tuesday of last week. He's determined to be there for his Hall of Fame induction. Sid Edwards, the mayor of Baton Rouge, who coached with him, for years at Catholic High, helped make some special arrangements, transportation-wise, police escort, all that. Sid was there himself, got him to Natchitoches, and Dale was able to be there for the Hall of Fame induction. Neil represented him on stage, but there were some special moments. All the Hall of Famers got to have a one-on-one with Dale. He was very aware of what was going on. His whole family was there. Awesome special moment. I'll tell you, that was really neat.
No, that's awesome. I mean, when you get an honor like that, it's incredibly well deserved. It's always better when they can be there in person for it. That makes it just all the more special.
It meant a lot to a lot of people. Obviously, Ed Daniels' widow, Ed Daniels, received a special Distinguished Service Award in sports journalism. His widow, Robin, from down in New Orleans. Remember, it was a year ago at the end of this month that Ed passed away the day before training camp opened for the Saints. He suffered a stroke and died. And so there were, a lot of those stories. And Herb Vincent, who's a well-respected, did a great job at LSU in administration, now with the SEC office. Just so many great stories. April Burkholder, who would be on the Mount Rushmore of LSU gymnasts. She was recognized. And, of course, as you mentioned, Andrew Whitworth, who's become maybe a bigger star after his playing days are over than when he was playing.
I was up there on Thursday Night Football every week. Best Nick Saban story you heard this past weekend?
Nick Saban. So, look, it was funny. Nick Saban's such a rock star, right? He can't take 2 steps without people stopping him. And he was very gracious. He took pictures. He signed autographs. He was in a great mood. Matter of fact, his handlers, the guys that flew with him over from Alabama, 2 guys that had been with him for 10, 15 years on his staff, said, we don't know who this guy is. Ever since he retired, he's become so pleasant and so nice. But one of the cool things was Bootie's out of Bootie, Louisiana, a great little restaurant over there. They came up and cooked some fried fish and jambalaya for our Taste of Louisiana event that Saturday before the induction. And Nick was back in the museum in our office, and he was back there crushing some jambalaya and fried fish. He told Terry, he said, you got to have this jambalaya. It's the best jambalaya I've ever eaten. So shout out for Booties.
They don't have that over there in Tuscaloosa. No, he had to leave that behind, too. See, exactly. He had to leave that behind,
too. They got Dreamland, but,
that's barbecue.
We got TJ Ribs.
Yeah, you go. Exactly. What's next for the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame now?
Late August, we'll be selecting the 26th class, and we'll announce it sometime mid-September to the public. But look, I've already kind of know the short list. Not going to talk about it publicly. I'm one of 40 people who vote. It's not my decision. It's a great class. We have some past Hall of Famers that are on the committee. We got tons of sports writers and broadcasters. Matt Moscona last year got to be a part of the voting committee. We'll do it in Pineville, Louisiana, the last third Sunday in August. And trust me, it's going to be another award-winning class.
I mean, it always is. You're able to bring back a lot of people who have influenced sports in Louisiana in a massive, massive way. Before you go, thought on the Tigers winning number 8.
Awesome. I mean, I wasn't sure they were going to get it done because they had so many question marks outside of their top 4 pitchers. It was pretty much just cliff. You had 4 of the best in the country, and then you had a bunch of coin flippers, meaning you didn't know what they were going to get from time to time. And so I thought maybe that would catch them, but the format is advantageous to where if you are good and you have 4 good pitchers and they're all on, and they don't have 2 of them don't have an off weekend, you can win it. And that's what they did. They did it in 23. They did it again in 25. And I did always like their lineup. I thought that the balance of the lineup, even Braswell, probably the best 180 hitter in the history of college baseball, had an on-base percentage over 300. Got the bunt down when you needed it, moved the ball, didn't strike out a ton. So I thought Braswell did a nice job. Obviously, his defense is why he was out there. It was a well-balanced team, had the big boppers in the middle that you needed. Fry was the difference, I thought, in that lineup, and the pitching lived up to all the hype.
It did. I mean, that outing from Zach Cowan against Arkansas in the Wednesday game, I mean, that's what you're talking about. Where
because he had kind of been trending down the last month.
Yeah, I mean, he had struggled in his last 4 out of his last 5, and he goes out there and gives you, did he get through 6? I think it was close.
But I mean, Chase Shores, Chase Shores, he didn't walk anybody in the postseason. Like he didn't walk anybody in the postseason and throws 100. Like, that's it.
With that slider.
I mean, it's nothing else to talk about.
Yeah.
Like, you throw 100 and you don't walk anybody, that's why he was so great.
It was also nice to see them do it through the winter. That was the first time LSU's played through the winners bracket in Omaha since 2009.
Yeah.
Every other year they'd fallen, and it's like, oh, come on. That is not that it wasn't any less stressful, but it's just nice to go through undefeated.
Do you think Jay Johnson is going to get to 5? You think he wins 5? Which is what Skip Bertman did. That's the big question, right? He's a young guy. He's probably going to coach another 15 years at least. So, I mean, in 15 years, does he win 3?
He's the only other guy to win 2 in 3 years. I mean, Skip's the only person who's the only guy to win 2 at LSU. I think he's got a chance. I really do.
Oh, no, he definitely has
a chance. I mean, I'm going to say no just because it's harder to do now.
I mean,
it's harder to do now, right?
Well, 2 guys, right? Dado at USC.
I'll say no, but with a caveat of it wouldn't surprise me.
Oh,
I mean, no one works harder than the guy in the game.
4.5 is the over/under in Vegas for sure, right? I mean that's the line.
Like they've been. I mean, I knew he'd get another one. I knew they'd get back. I didn't think it would be like I knew they had a really talented team. I liked the team, but it was just like, I mean, I really liked Arkansas this year, but when they beat them in that first game, it was like, all right, hold on now. Hey.
I think I'm with you, and I'm gonna say no just because it is. I think he lands on 4, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Because I just think, everybody's good. Everybody's got good coaching. And oh, by the way, LSU doesn't have the most money. I mean, there's a lot of not a lot, but there are colleges that have more money than LSU, and some considerably more than LSU to spend in NIL.
Let's see, it's him and Tim Corbin, active coaches with multiple.
But remember, if I would have asked you 7 years ago, would Tim Corbin not have won another one? You'd have said no way.
Exactly.
You thought for sure Vandy would have won another one since they won their last one.
It's crazy.
Things happen like that.
It's crazy, man. It was
Mike
a great
Martin
year.
never thought at Florida State he'd never win one, right? The guy went to Omaha more than anybody, never won one.
Never won. They're still trying to chase down the elusive championship. Dave Van Horn is kind of creeping up on Mike Martin there in that category.
They're kind of in that same conversation.
They really
Two
are.
legendary Hall of Fame coaches, but just haven't gotten
it done. All right. Appreciate you coming in, Ron. Again, Baton Rouge Rouge 4-game set this weekend over at Pete Goolsby Fireworks. 2-for-1 drinks. Y'all get over there and check it out. We got to grab a break. Come back, close out hour number 2 of AFR.
After further review.
We're brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham. Mid-City on Don Moore, Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. You know those 4 locations, and what an awesome time to get by Clegg's Nursery because they still have every single day shipments of flowers coming in, plants, trees, shrubs. You want to beautify the exterior of your home. You want to add that pop of color to your flower bed, to your patio pots. Maybe you got unwanted pests like ants or snakes or mosquitoes, wasps. They can help you take care of all of them. Maybe you got weeds coming up in your lawn. You want to get rid of that. Maybe you got dead spots in your lawn. The horticulturists, the professionals at Clegg's Nursery have the knowledge, the know-how, the expertise, and all the products you need to win Yard of the Month every month for your whole life. Guaranteed. Actually, I can't back that up. You have to do some of the work, too. It's Clegg's Nursery.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Always a pleasure to tell you about our friends at the Williamson Eye Center. Check them out online at williamsoneye.com. They've got locations all over the greater Baton Rouge area. On the Baton Rouge General Campus, you turn off a Bluebonnet onto Picardy, you make that right. And then right there at the stop sign, the building on the right, the first 2 floors, that's the Williamson Eye Center. State-of-the-art dry eye center, and it's full service. Of course, they have their state-of-the-art surgery center there where you can have your LASIK or whatever surgical procedure you're having. But they have your standard annual eye exam as well at the Williamson Eye Center. Learn more at williamsoneye.com. The thing I tell you every day is take the advice that I was given and change your life. To give yourself the gift of sight is absolutely incredible. If you're someone like me who spent your life with contacts or glasses, there is a way to be done with it forever. williamsoneye.com. Go see Dr. Blake Williamson for that free consultation. 924-2020. 924-2020 or williamsoneye.com for the Williamson Eye Center.
All right, welcome back in. That's my bad. We went long with Ross and then with Ronnie. We got to talking about baseball and the Jay Johnson and how many championships he could potentially win, and just got off the rails a little bit there. We went a little long. That's my bad. Apologize for a short segment here. But we are about to be due for a break. It's been a great show so far. 2 hours down, one more to go. We'll hit our break, go to Sports Center. They'll get you caught up on your national headlines. We'll come back for the final hour here of the week on AFR. And Jay Johnson, speaking of baseball, was on with Hester and Flynn on Off the Bench this morning, and he said something that really kind of got me thinking. And I think it's a great sign, actually, for LSU. We'll let you hear what Jay said. I'll give you my reaction to that next as we kick off hour number 3 of AFR, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing.
After further review.
As we get on down the road, remind you about South Point Volkswagen, airline just north of Highland, and southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. You know, one of the things that's really worth stressing when I tell you all the time about why I love driving a Volkswagen. Remember, at South Point Volkswagen, their vehicles are manufactured right here in the US of A. So you get the great German engineering, safety features, performance, all of it, without the cost and the benefit of supporting American jobs. But even more importantly right now, as people talk about tariffs and rising costs and all that stuff, these vehicles are manufactured in the US of A, so you don't even have to worry about the tariffs and all that conversation. So another benefit of shopping at South Point Volkswagen, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer, and they're awesome people as well. Volkswagen, so much it's a culture, it's a vibe, it's fun to drive, and they're fun to deal with as well. Airline just north of Highland, South Point Volkswagen.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I'm Christine Lisi. Guardians right-hander Luis Ortiz under investigation by Major League Baseball after a betting integrity firm flagged a pair of his pitches that had received unusual gambling activity, one on June 15th, another on June 27th. Ortiz was placed on non-disciplinary leave through July 17th. WNBA, Indiana star Caitlin Clark will miss her 4th straight game with a strained left groin tonight against Las Vegas. She also missed a couple of games earlier this season with strained quads, so the Fever's erring on the side of caution with the former number 1 overall pick. Notes ESPN WNBA reporter Alexa Philippou.
They want to make sure that they are not making this something that is going to linger long term. They think that it'll probably help that they have some time before the All-Star break. They have a nice 5-game homestand that's starting tonight against the Aces, and so they really can take their time making sure that she's feeling 100%, there's no lingering issues, and she can get back on the floor hopefully sooner rather than later.
NHL splashy offseason signing by the Hurricanes, signing forward Nick Ehlers 6 years, $51 million.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, we offer auto, home, and commercial auto insurance, plus a variety of business insurance options to cover your small business needs and more. Visit Progressive.com today.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
Off and running hour number 3 after further review here on a Thursday, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Musso in for Moscona. Jacob Beck and Paul O'Neill along for the ride as well. Final hour of the week for us here on AFR. We're all off for the 4th of July. Scone is back on Monday when we resume. We are taking the 4th of July off. Regularly scheduled program back to normal for you on the 7th. Been a great show so far. 2 hours in the books, one more to go here. And wanted to talk some LSU baseball. We've kind of looked at some offseason topics here throughout the week, whether it be MLB draft decisions, transfer portal needs, signing the lefty from Oregon, Santiago Garcia, on Tuesday, Ashton Larson entering on Monday. All of those things, we've kind of run through it all. There is kind of one thing we haven't necessarily done, and that's really kind of, in a sense, take a look forward to 2026 because, well, the draft hasn't even passed, and it's July. You got a long way to go before fall ball even gets here. There's a lot of question marks about this team, or is there? The thing that's interesting, though, is this is now chance number 2 at defending a national championship. In 2024, that was a roller coaster. There were a lot of ups. There were a lot of downs. Took a while for your lineup to kind of get going early in the season. Then, of course, you start 0 for 5 in SEC series. That was a really tough schedule. But the mettle of that team was tested, and they just had to figure out, okay, when do we really just want to put it all together and go forward and win it? And down the stretch, second half of SEC play, they were better. They were 2 outs away from winning a regional and going to a super. So it was a roller coaster. Why would 26 be different? And I think that it will be. But Jay Johnson was on off the bench this morning with Jacob Hester and Matt Flynn. And it was Matt Flynn that asked him the question because being on the team in 2003 for LSU football, winning that national championship, then having to come back, that 2004 was kind of the toughest offseason that they had. And that's how Flynn phrased the question. Like, do you have to reestablish the championship culture, the championship identity, and how do you go about doing that heading into 2026 now with your second opportunity at defending a national championship? This is what Jay Johnson had to say.
Yeah, it is. And I think John Gordon, the speaker, writer, has become a friend of mine. And I actually had him help me with this last time. And he talked about really clearly delineating this is This is not repeating, defending anything. This is attacking a new opportunity. And we'll bring in a group of players that have not won a national championship. So, wouldn't be fair to them, for the staff, the returning players, to not give everything they can so that those guys can be a part of that. Also, I think I know how hard this is to do, and don't take it for granted. And I said this somewhere, this just didn't happen overnight. So you have to, recommit, reinvest to what we call our process of winning. And that starts the first day of school. We start lifting the first day of school. We start skill instruction the first week of school to max out the days and opportunities to develop, because Tate Anderson, developing strength, developing a slider, that just didn't show up in, April. He was in on that as soon as the season was over. The improvements that, Jared Jones made with, contact with pitches in the zone, that was a lot of work over time. And he's a talented player. And because of that work being really deliberate, you get to those things. And I understand that probably go overboard on it. I don't think you can manufacture it artificially. I think the players see right through it. So kind of what I do is, we'll have a ring ceremony for this team that won the championship. And I think you have to let those guys enjoy that and be a part of that. And some of it, otherwise, what the hell are we doing it for in the first place? So you have to respect that. Yeah. And at the same time, when it's October 20th and we're in the fourth inner squad, I'm not thinking about last year's national championship. So it's just maturity. And I actually feel like we have guys that were a part of this thing, that were a part of maybe the season before, which was still a successful season. We won 44 games, and they know the difference.
It's the end of that as to why this is going to be different this time. And there's other things that factor in. For one, the start of your SEC schedule isn't going to be as difficult as it was in 2024, because I don't think that's actually possible for it to be. But it's what he said at the very end of that cut. And all of it was good. And it's a lot of the same things you heard him say in 2024. We're not defending anything. This is new. This is a new team. But the maturity of the guys that they will bring back, the contributions of the guys that they will bring back, and the mindset of the guys that they will bring back is different than it was in 2024. You lost so much off of that 2023 team to where it's not possible to not take a step back. Don't just look at LSU. And again, as he said, it was still a successful year. You won 44 games. You were 2 outs away from winning a regional. But it did fall short of LSU standard. You didn't host. You had some ups. You had some roller coaster of a season. Don't just look at LSU. Look at Tennessee a year ago, this past season. Tennessee lost so much off of a team that won 60 games in a national championship. You don't just, and they start 20-0. They were destined for regression, and it happened for them in the second half of the SEC season because you don't just keep going. It's not possible to do. LSU had 13 players drafted off of that team. But you look at this one, you'll have Stephen Milam back. You'll have guys like Jake Brown back. Maybe even a guy like Ethan Fry. We'll wait and see. That's a really good foundation just for your lineup. A guy like Cade Arambidi, who you expect to slide in and be your everyday catcher. We talked about it earlier in the week, which you're going to bring back on the mound. Gavin Guidry, Kason Evans, William Schmidt, Maverick Rizzi. Guys who are in that locker room, in that building, and contributed greatly to the success of this team. You look back for that 20 year going into 2024, you brought back Gavin Guidry, you brought back Jared Jones, you brought back Tommy White. And sure, those guys contributed and were huge parts of your team in 23. But a guy like Guidry, a guy like Jones are going into their sophomore year. You're bringing back veteran contributors who understand what this program is all about, who understand the mindset, have the maturity to get everybody together on the same page. The thing they talked about, Jay and the team, all year since day one when they met for the 2025 season to start fall ball and then go into obviously spring in the season and what ultimately ended up in a national championship, they preached tough and together each time. Jay Johnson, numerous times throughout the year, talked about the 2025 team. They needed character. They needed to get the character back from 2024, and they did. The right guys on the bus. They said it over and over and over again. And a lot of those right guys on the bus are back. And when you bring in transfers, because that's the thing, when you turned over the roster like you did heading into 2024, LSU had to go out and get a big transfer portal class. And it just didn't always mesh, man. That happens. I think that happened in Tennessee this year as well. That's part of how things go in college sports now. You had to do the same thing this year, but you hit on the talent and you hit on the person. And this team was as close and as together as anyone could be, but you had great leadership. Like LSU won the national championship in 2025 in large part because of what happened in 2024. You had great leadership retained, and then you brought in the new guys, and that's how you ended up getting the character back. You got the right guys on the bus because they were together all the time. They cared about each other. And so many of the guys that helped lead that charge are back. You know, Jay Johnson said something last offseason, when LSU was just going ham in the transfer portal. And he talked about, well, this is how it goes. And you have to rebuild your team every single year. It's, you know, you start with a blank foundation. Now, I played the cut of it on Musso the Box, and I said, I respectfully disagree with that. Look at the foundation you had from 2024 and even some of 2023 and 2025 that you built around Stephen Milam, Jake Brown, Jared Jones, Cade Anderson. On and on and on. Valuable guys who you recruited to your program. Ethan Fry. Valuable guys who you recruited to your program, and you built the foundation on them. And you have that going forward again. Jake Brown, Stephen Milam, Derek Curiel, Kason Evans, Maverick Rizzi. All guys you recruited. Maverick Rizzi led this team in appearances, y'all, in 2025. You still have that foundation. And you build around it. And when you get the right guys in there and you have guys like who we've gone through numerous times already in this segment who are going to be leading the charge to help create that cohesiveness, that chemistry in the locker room because they know what they did this past year. And let me tell you, I mean, they're not going to go out there and recruit a different character of guy. But the leadership and the maturity that LSU returns, that for me, chief among everything else, is what will make 2026 different than 2025. Excuse me, than 2024 was, not defending, right? It's not defending anything, but you know what I mean, from 2023. The foundation that you return is so much stronger. And then those guys are really good players. You have way more contributors back on this team than you did in 24. You're not breaking in, almost a whole new team. You'll have to replace your starting rotation. You'll have to replace some big bats in the lineup, Dickinson, Jones. Understood. But it seems like you have enough of the right guys on the bus, still on the bus, to welcome in the new crop. And that's the test now. 2 in 3 years is great. That's exceptional. It's faster than I thought he'd get to 2. I knew they'd be back. I knew they'd win it again because he's just a tireless worker and he's a damn good coach. 2 in 3 years is epic. But that just does nothing but raise the expectation even more. Now you have to keep it going. And I think they're incredibly equipped to do so for 2026 and beyond because of the foundation that they've built with program guys that you recruited to this school and who care an awful lot about the program and want to see it continue to the heights that only it can go, because that's what LSU baseball is. All right. We'll grab a break. We'll come back on the other side. Catch up on anything you might have missed earlier in the show. A little retouch on the recruiting and whatnot. Get to our 4th of July plans, all things of that nature to close out the week here on AFR. Stay here.
AFR.
If you are thinking about selling your home, maybe you've been on the fence, you've looked at rates and everything, like if you do sell, can you afford to buy the next home? Listen, the market right now is en fuego. I was talking to Darren James over the weekend, and he was like, Matt, the start of 2025 is the best start we've ever had. I'm telling you, consumer confidence is back. It is time right now to check out Darren James. Agent225.com, agent225.com. Yes, in Baton Rouge, but all over. Like, I just opened this one up. This is a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom condo in Slidell that Darren's selling right on the water there on Harbor Drive. You can check it out, 129. You can check it out right now at agent225.com, agent225.com. Listen, buying, selling, commercial, residential, you need a realtor, you need the best, you need Darren James. 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Quick reminder about Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. They're the best. If you are, gentlemen, thinking about popping the question and you're thinking about where am I going to go buy that diamond, I want you to consider this. There are places that will sell you man-made lab diamonds, but what are you buying? It's according to its makeup and characteristics, sure, diamond. But is it going to hold its value? Like, is that the way you want to say, I love you, I want to spend the rest of my life with you? Go to Lee Michaels. Go to Lee Michaels. Walk in the door. Experience the thing I talk about all the time, which is the Lee Michaels experience. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry with 10 locations. Baton Rouge, 2 locations in Baton Rouge. New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, Mississippi, Texas as well. 10 locations across 3 states. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Thrill her, gentlemen. Thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry.
All right, rolling along here. Thursday edition of AFR, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Final hour of the week here for us, and sure, finally hour of the week for most of y'all out there. Maybe you just knocked off work, hopped in your car, just punched the clock, and you're driving home with us. We appreciate that. Led the show today talking some LSU football recruiting. It was a big night, obviously, for the Tigers. On Wednesday, they were in the finals for not one but 2 of their top prospects on the defensive side of the ball. They went 1 for 2, but the one they landed, man, Trenton Henderson, that's a big one. If you're unfamiliar, Henderson is a 5-star edge out of Pensacola, top 100 prospect, top 10, depending on which service you subscribe to, but ranked no lower than the 11th best edge rusher in the nation. Again, a 5-star. Just a freak athlete is Trenton Henderson. Plays 2 sports over there at Pensacola Catholic, football as well as basketball. So elite athleticism, the speed off the edge from this guy is absolutely insane. Really burst onto the scene his junior season at Pensacola Catholic, which was this past fall. He went from 3 sacks as a sophomore to 10 as a junior, added 18 more tackles for loss, 18 TFLs. For this kid. In addition to the 10 sacks, it could have been so much more because he had 20 quarterback hurries as a junior over there in his most recent high school season. And look, you expect that to obviously just continue to increase. Obviously, as a senior, the size is already off the charts. 6'4", 224 is Trenton Henderson, and a guy that, man, look, we'll have to wait and see if he's an early enrollee, but you get that into LSU strength and conditioning program already, and paired with the 5-star ranking, with everything of that nature, you're looking at a guy who you say, oh, man, 2026, he could compete and give you something in some capacity as a true freshman, which, I mean, look, that's not uncommon to see true freshmen come into LSU and play right away. I mean, you've seen it plenty, especially with athletes like this that have those 5 stars next to their name, and hopefully Trenton Henderson's no different. But what's more to me is the position that he plays. Why this was such a big get. You can look at the ranking and all that and understand, okay, he's a great player. But it's the position, edge. That's a big position of need for LSU. Go back with me, if you will. And look, Kevin Peoples has done a great job recruiting that position out of the portal and developing as well. But that has really been a portal position for LSU because the guys they've signed just really haven't stuck around for the most part. I mean, you go back a couple cycles ago. Deshaun Womack, 5-star. Jackson Howard, high 4-star. Both top 100 guys. Both have entered the portal. They're gone. They're here no more, right? Gone. A year ago, you signed Damian Shanklin. That's it. It was your one edge that you signed in the class of 2025. Outside of that, I mean, it's been Braden Swenson, Ovia Gofu, guys like that. And then the 3 that you brought in this cycle to help supplement the turnover at that position with Swenson and Jones both heading off to the NFL. And again, those 2 guys, great examples of the development that Kevin Peoples has had at that position. But it's because of that you had, and the portal, that you've had so much turnover and that you had to go get Jack Pyburn and Patrick Payton and Jamari Butler to come in and help supplement. So you had guys there. because behind that, you have a lot of inexperience. And you'll really be left in that same boat after 25 because Pyburn, Peyton, Butler, this is it for them. This is their last year of eligibility for each three. They're 1-year rentals for you. It's a very real possibility that your most experienced guy that you return for 26 is Gabe Rutherford, because Gabe Rutherford is going to play a lot in 2025 for LSU. He's a versatile guy that can play inside and out. He'll absolutely be in the rotation at edge. Like, he's going to play plenty of snaps as a sophomore. He flashed last year as a freshman. So he's likely to be your most experienced guy returning. Outside of that, they're really high on Kalaj Cobbins, but his most significant action came in the bowl game against Baylor. C.J. Jackson, redshirt. Dylan Carpenter played sparingly. You need guys at that spot. Trenton Henderson gives you guys at that spot. And extremely talented guys at that spot. So it's a huge get at a huge position of need. And it checks every box. Does Trenton Henderson. The other thing you look at is, okay, well, what did it do for LSU's class? In the immediacy, it jumped LSU up 2 spots to number 5 nationally. Now, recruiting's extremely fluid, and guys commit every single day, and classes, fluctuate. So since then, LSU has dropped 1 spot to 6. So in all, they sat at 7 heading into Wednesday night with these commitments scheduled. They exit when the dust fully settles at number 6, up 1 spot. But this class, y'all, that LSU has is massive. Trenton Henderson is, depending where you look, he is either your 2nd or 3rd highest ranked commitment. It gives you 2 5-stars. Trenton Henderson gives you your 6th top 100 commit. That is half your class because you have 12 commitments. 6 of them now are in the top 100. And it just bolsters your defensive line class as well. You add him in there with Richard Anderson, who's the number 1 defensive tackle in the country, and a 5-star by some services himself out of Carr. You're looking now at 2 5-star defensive linemen that you've brought in. One on the edge and obviously one on the interior there with Richard Anderson. They're doing work. Boy, are they doing work over there in football ops in the recruiting department. And they're not done. It stinks. You lost out on J.J. Bush. He'll go play his ball in Arkansas. That stinks. LSU's recruited incredibly well at linebacker. They'll get somebody that they feel really good about. And not only that, you've got Charles Ross, Jaden Breaker, Devon Keys, Keelan Moses, Zach Weeks. They have recruited incredibly well at that position, and they will move on, and they will find somebody there. That's why, again, when I look at this Wednesday night, and you went 1 out of 2, it's a huge success because you got the guy that you really, really had to get in the 5-star and out of position of need. Big success there. And as we said, not done. This will be a big week coming up next week for LSU. You'll have another edge rusher that could potentially pop for you. And then the biggest one is July 10th, Thursday, July 10th, a week from today. That's Lamar Brown. And it's a tightly contested battle between LSU and A&M. And I think, Shea Dixon was here with us on Tuesday, and he kind of said, both coaching staffs, they're sitting there. Yeah, they feel good, but neither of them feel great about kind of what they've done there. Shea reiterated, and I'm sure he'll do the same on Tuesday when he's back with us and we preview the Lamar Brown commitment. He still feels like he ends up a Tiger. And that would just be another huge feather in the cap for LSU in this 2026 recruiting class. One that is already very, very good and very, very balanced. And they got a long way to go. This should be a really good month of July. And you couldn't have kicked it off in any better way with a 5-star in Trenton Henderson. So he's the latest addition for LSU at a position of need and just bolsters an already top 10 class. We'll grab a break, come back on the other side, continue to roll along here on a Thursday edition of AFR presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Stay here.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. Gents, it doesn't matter what your age is. That age is a number. It's about how you feel. You remember what it was like when you were in your 20s or your 30s and you woke up in the morning, you had tons of energy to go to work, to play with your kids in the yard, to get to the gym, to feel vibrant. And as you age, you don't feel like that much anymore. It's harder to lose weight, harder to get motivation to go to the gym. You wake up feeling sore or tired. Maybe your love life isn't what it was. It doesn't have to be that way. A simple blood test can let you know if you're a candidate for hormone replacement therapy. And at Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, there's never any contracts, and they have the lowest prices. You can get to start feeling better for as low as $125 a month with no contracts. It's Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit them online, yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always. No paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawbillsTire.com. 18 locations in South Louisiana. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. They will always find a way to get you the best possible price for the best possible tires on the road. That's what they do at Shawbills. And when they get you in by selling you the best tires at the cheapest price possible, they're going to treat you like family, and they're going to treat you so good you're going to keep coming back year after year after year every time you need anything for your vehicle. Tires rotated, oil changed, check engine light on, brakes squeaking, whatever's wrong with your vehicle, bring it to Shaw Bills, let them give it the once-over, and you can always schedule online, so it's convenient. ShawBillsTire.com. Find the location nearest you at ShawBillsTire.com. Shop tires online at ShawBillsTire.com. Be sure to ask about the Shaw Bills credit card as well, because you can save $50 off your first purchase when you use the Shaw Bills credit card only at Shaw Bills.
On Wednesday night, Major League Baseball, they announced their starters for the All-Star Game, Midsummer Classic right around the corner. It's not about that. It is about something really cool that happens around the All-Star Game every year. That's the Home Run Derby. But the uniforms, the jerseys, this year have a little bit of special meaning. And they pay homage to two of the game's greats in a special place for both of them, which I think is really, really cool. And CC Sabathia is actually to credit for this. Beck, Paul, did y'all see this at all? This was CC Sabathia's idea. So he, obviously, Hall of Fame pitcher. Now he works as a special assistant to the commissioner, Rob Manfred, bum. But, am I lying?
No.
So, the All-Star Game, obviously, this year is in Atlanta, Truist Park. It's held on the Home Run Derby will be July 14th. The All-Star Game will be July 15th. And they've tweaked their rules again. First of all, in the All-Star Game, you will see the players just wear their normal team uniform, which, thank the Lord. And they'll go back to what they did prior to 2019, where in the Home Run Derby, the contestants and players that are there, they'll wear the All-Star uniform. July 14th, Home Run Derby. July 15th, All-Star Game. When you look at the date, it's 7/14, 7/15, which are obviously two very significant numbers in Major League Baseball history. 7/14 was Babe Ruth's home run record that stood until Hank Aaron of the Atlanta Braves broke it at 7/15. So for the Home Run Derby uniforms, the National League side, every player, they will have 44 on their back for Hank Aaron. And on the American League side, every player will have the number 3 for Babe Ruth to honor those two. I thought it was really cool. Also, an interesting note. We all know Hank Aaron, obviously known for his time in Atlanta and with the Braves. Babe Ruth also. Babe Ruth hit home run number 714 as a member of the Boston Braves before the franchise would eventually move to Milwaukee and then to Atlanta. But so each player has a tie there with the Braves franchise, and their milestone home runs of 714, 715 honored in a competition all about hitting home runs. I think it's an awesome idea. I love it. What do y'all think?
Yeah, it's a cool idea. I agree. And yeah, the uniform thing we can do without we don't need them to wear these all-star uniforms in the game. I think it's a good enough touch to where they can have a hat, like an all-star cap maybe, and then just wear their team jersey. I think is perfectly fine.
Yeah, no, it was not only that, the All-Star Game uniforms that they had rolled out the last 5 years or so were just absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, not good.
Like, they were so bad. These aren't bad at all. I mean, they're very similar to the Braves throwbacks with like the cursive and even with the AL, that AL lowercase a, I mean, that is like the Braves thing.
Beautiful.
So Paul says beautiful.
Wow.
I think
not biased.
Hey, give him a break, man. They've had a really rough year, all right? They just had another guy go on the IL.
Yeah.
But Paul Acuna, all-star starter, even after missing like the first month of the year.
Yeah, I think that was a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have somebody from the home team there, and he's had an awesome year anyway. But, I mean, these uniforms, they aren't bad. The color of the NL uniform's horrible.
Not good.
Like, that's bad. That looks like 1980s Miami Vice. But the AL uniform is actually really good. They're very simple. They're very baseball. So I think it's a great nod having 44 and 3 on the back like that for Babe Ruth and Hank Aaron, and franchises they both had a lot of history with hosting the game. So I thought that was really cool. Thought it was worth mentioning. A lot of uniform talk this week, man.
Yeah.
A lot of uniform talk.
It's a slow week,
Yeah, well, and uniforms are awesome, Beck.
They
Not just
are.
a slow week. Uniforms are great.
Well, I agree.
I mean, they're fantastic. But good on the Braves. Good on the Braves, and good on CC Sabathia for coming up with that idea. That was clever. Quick note about a former Tiger. We didn't get to Tigers in the pros, so quick note about a former Tiger here momentarily. But first, I don't know, Beck, what are we at? Supper Club?
We're brought to you by Supper Club. You can book your reservation, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. One of the things about Supper Club that I love is if you want to go to Supper Club and be a baller, you can do it. You want to go to Supper Club and order a $5,000 bottle of Chateau Lafite Rothschild, you can do it. You want to go have $400 shots of cognac, you can do it. You can have experiences at Supper Club that usually are reserved for Las Vegas and New York and Paris and Abu Dhabi. Like, that's here in Baton Rouge. But the thing you got to remember as well, if you want to go to Supper Club and have the best steak of your life and have a few appetizers, a dessert, bottle of wine, you can do it as affordably as any other restaurant in town. But the experience at Supper Club is unmatched. Introduced open seating at the bar, first come, first serve. So if you knock off of work, you want to head by Supper Club, you can walk in without a reservation, see if you can grab a bar stool or a table by the bar as well. Have a great dinner, maybe cocktail, close some business. Book your reservation, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com.
All right, we didn't really get to fully do Tigers in the pros today, but really the thing that bears mentioning most is Garrett Temple is going to play another year in the NBA, which is just wild. The LSU basketball Twitter account, they posted this today. Congratulations to Garrett Temple on signing, re-signing, I should say, with the Toronto Raptors. Garrett Temple, 39 years old. This will be his 16th NBA season. 16th NBA season. He's played for 11 teams over those 16 years. Longest stint with a single franchise. That came with the Washington Wizards from 2012 to 2016. This is awesome, man. I mean, it's his third year with the Raptors, and he's just been such a great veteran presence for so many teams over the years. And look, man, LSU recently, it's picking up a little bit with Naz Reid, Tari Eason, Trenton Watford. They've really gotten off to nice starts to their career. But the NBA history for LSU basketball, recent history at least that is, wasn't great. And Garrett Temple was and is the stalwart there. And on top of that, I mean, Garrett's just a great guy as well. But 771 career games for Garrett Temple in the NBA. And oh, by the way, he's the vice president of the Players Association. Like, he's done it all. I mean, awesome. 16 years. So congratulations to Garrett Temple, re-signing for a third year and a 16th overall with the Toronto Raptors. Keep going. Why not? If someone's willing to keep giving you a paycheck and you're valuable and you provide that veteran presence, and hell, I mean, when he gets into the game, he can still be productive. I mean, he played 28 games all off the bench last year, but it's not like he's just there taking up a spot. Like, he's still getting into games. He's still doing great. 39 years old, man. Keeping it going. 16th year coming up for Garrett Temple.
And really just a great story in terms of, like, he was obviously one of the more important players for LSU, in his junior and senior years, but never was a big stat guy. So he went undrafted, and in first few years he kind of bounced around to some different teams. Was playing the G League for a bit, the D League at that point, and then called on with the Wizards in 2012, and then just from there has been just a really consistent, like you said, veteran guy that you don't stick around this long unless teams really know that your value is not necessarily on the court, but in the locker room, and he is made an awesome career out of this.
And again, I mean, to your point there with the veteran the leadership aspect in the locker room, that is on full display with his role with the Players Association. I mean, the guy's the vice president. Like, you're not going to put just anybody, obviously, in that role and vote anybody into that role. And he's held it down now for a few years. So that's awesome. Best of luck to Garrett Temple. I hope it's another great year for him. And the health aspect of this for him,
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
To be able to stay healthy, and now at 39 years old, to still be able to stay healthy, that's a long season, the NBA. I mean, 82 games. So, awesome for Garrett Temple, man. Wishing him nothing but the best and another great season in the NBA, his 16th. Just wild. We'll grab a break, come back on the other side, close out the week here on AFR. Stick around.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, two beautiful hotel properties in Baton Rouge, the Watermark downtown, the Renaissance Southtown right there on Bluebonnet. And when it comes to hosting your event, both the Watermark and the Renaissance are perfect. The Watermark is a gorgeous, elegant spot in downtown Baton Rouge. That wedding reception, that smaller gathering, that meeting space, they can do it. They've kept so much of the history and tradition of that iconic building while modernizing it. The Gregory is a great restaurant inside of the Watermark as well. And then, of course, the Renaissance Hotel, Southtown, right there on Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. It's more modern. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous hotel property at the Renaissance Hotel where they have meeting space that can accommodate up to 500 people, 7,000 square foot of meeting space, perfectly located right off of Bluebonnet and I-10. It's the Watermark and the Renaissance Hotels in Baton Rouge.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luva, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environment.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
It is my pleasure this week to welcome our new partner on to After Further Review, Our Lady of the Lake. Of course, great partnership as well as the official championship health partner of LSU. When you think who takes care of the LSU athletes, well, it's Our Lady of the Lake and the physicians there. game-changing care, keeps athletes at their best, builds stronger, healthier Louisiana for all of us at every level. I've told you about my experience throughout my life, living in Baton Rouge at Our Lady of the Lake, from volunteering at the Ronald McDonald Playroom to helping raise funds through so many different fundraising efforts for the standalone children's hospital, to taking my son to see specialists there at Our Lady of the Lake Children's Hospital, to my own personal health. My GP is Dr. Kurt Chastain with Our Lady of the Lake Men's Health. It's good enough for the LSU athletes. It's good enough for me and you, of course. It's Our Lady of the Lake. You can learn more at ololrmc.com/LSU.
All right, final segment of the week here on AFR. Send everybody off into their 4th of July weekend, including us. We are off on Friday. We'll have the long weekend, 3-day weekend. Enjoy the 4th of July holiday. Be back here on Monday. Well, except for me. I'm not going to be. I'm off on Monday. I might have taken a little bit extra there. But Scone will be back on Monday as well. Back in the chair. And, man, I know he's going to be itching to talk. He missed a lot here over his week and some change that he was out. So you'll be back. No shows Friday, including live at lunch for the Baton Rouge audience only. No shows Friday. Back to your regular programming throughout the day on Monday. All right. Well, last segment here, guys. 4th of July plans. Anybody doing anything fun here this weekend? What we got?
Yeah, I'm going to go in with my wife. Family has a camp in Mississippi, so we'll go up there, and it's a deer hunting camp, so there's not a ton to do during the summer.
I thought it was going to be on the lake.
No, so they do have a lake.
Okay.
So probably do some fishing, some nice fish in that lake, and probably do some grilling. The typical stuff, and then on Saturday going to play some golf.
Oh, what we got, Beck?
Going to Carter Plantation.
Great spot.
Great course. Yeah, it's going to be very hot. It'll be at 12 o'clock, so pretty much as hot as you can get. So I'm going to have to prepare for that, but I'm really excited for that. And, yes, that's pretty much it for the weekend.
Where is the camp's in that area, Springfield area? Or?
No, it's in Mississippi. It's like right on the border, so it's not too far.
Okay, it's just a little day trip for Friday. Come back, go play some golf. That's not a bad weekend, man. That's not a bad weekend. Paulie, Sam, Opal, what we got going on?
Yeah, so we're going to her parents' house on Saturday, doing a pool party. The usual grilling, some hot dogs and hamburgers, popping fireworks, usual 4th of July stuff. Nothing too crazy.
Popping fire. Paul, you're going to come back with all your fingers on Monday?
Well, we're not doing like the expensive big ones.
They don't have to be expensive
That's
to
true.
blow your hand off.
That's true.
I mean, there are people around us that do it, so we kind of just enjoy it. But with Opal, we're probably just going to do the little poppers and the.
You hold on to one of those M80s too long, and I mean, hey, now
do some damage.
Those things are like, you go to the fireworks stand, you get like 5 of them for free. Like buy one get 5 free or whatever they do at those things.
Oh, how about this little bit of news? The Pelicans have waived Antonio Reeves, the Kentucky guard. So that's a bit interesting there.
All right. Frees up a roster spot for them.
Yep.
They're now at 14.
Have you seen this, the Jonathan Kuminga stuff? I'm like...
Yeah, I just haven't seen it from anywhere like...
No,
so
me either. But I'm just hearing that, I'm thinking, okay, can we please not trade Herb Jones or Trey Murphy?
The New Orleans Warriors.
They're really good.
That's what you're going for right now,
No,
Beck.
it's not.
The New Orleans
we
Warriors.
don't need that.
Yeah. You do have a free roster spot now. That's something we talked about with Jake Madison earlier in the week. Is they have the potential for them to release somebody.
Yeah.
Maybe look for a trade potentially for the Pellies. They might not. They $3.7 million in to the luxury tax. So
Yeah.
you're not going to really gain anybody there, but potential for a trade. Now you have the spot freed up. So keep an eye on old Joe Dumars and the Pelicans here lately. Maybe we'll have some Pellies to talk about when we get back. Same Paul on the pool day. I'm hoping for 2 of them here. That's potentially what's going to happen on Monday as well, as I might lay by at the pool all day long, and hopefully the weather cooperates. Friday looks great.
Yeah,
it looked real bad. It looked real bad earlier in the week.
It's pretty dark out there right now, but
is it?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I haven't even checked what the weekend looks like. Hopefully it's fine.
Friday looks fine now.
Okay.
The partly cloudy skies, maybe like a 15% chance for, one of those stray afternoon July thunderstorms that happen in Louisiana all the time. But other than that, it looks like it should be a pretty good 4th of July. Hamburgers, hot dogs, ribs, steaks, any of those things. I mean, just enjoy it, man. Enjoy the time with family. Everybody be safe. That's obviously very important. Don't be like Paul and blow your fingers off with fireworks this weekend, because that's what he's going to do. Be safe. Get back to everybody in one piece, and obviously we'll try to do the same here. One of the top. Is this the top summer weekend? Memorial Day is great, man.
It's up there.
Is 4th of July the best one, though? I mean, Labor Day is pretty good, too.
It is.
But I put Memorial Day and 4th of July above Labor Day. I don't know. Regardless, y'all have a great, safe, happy 4th of July weekend. Be back here with us on AFR on Monday. See you then.
AFR.
Brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. You know, when we talk about Relief Windows every day, I always say windows, doors, siding. And now shutters as well. They do your indoor shutters. Same thing as the windows. Custom made, measured to fit your windows, custom fit for your windows, lifetime warranty on your windows, your shutters. But Brandon, you often hear say their number one product is customer satisfaction. And that's not just a catchy line. That's not a cliche phrase. Have an experience with Relief Windows and you'll understand. They go to the ends of the earth to make sure their customers are thrilled with the work they do. As a matter of fact, Relief Windows never takes $1 from you. You will not, no deposit, no down payment. They take all the risk. They will not take $1 until you're thrilled with the work they do. Who else does that? Only Relief Windows. Check them out online at ReliefWindows.com.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is